NASCAR Nextel Cup Series at the Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania. Cars qualified on Friday. There was no practice here yesterday because of rain. There will be a competition caution about lap 20. We'll see what happens. Right now, let's go trackside and join the pre-race ceremonies.
For our invocation, Father Phil DeRay.
Let us pray. Good and gracious God, we thank you for the beauty of this day. We ask your blessing on our country, on our men and women working for justice and peace, representing us all over the world. We pray for peace today, and especially we ask your blessing on this race, our drivers and teams, and all of our spectators and fans gathered here today. Bless us, Lord, with your love and care. Make us instruments of your peace. Amen.
For our national anthem, Clark Lewis.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
It is a warm and breezy July afternoon in Pocono. Temperature in the mid-70s, but things will be heating up soon because the command is next. You're watching the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series live on TNT. Hi, everybody. Bill Weber along with Wally Dallenbach and Benny Parsons. Thanks for having us in for the race. 7 events remain before the cutoff for the chase. About 15 drivers are still eligible. But, Benny, a lot of attention will be focused on 2 former champions, Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart. These 2 teams of championship caliber. What's their approach at this point?
Well, I talked to Greg Zipadelli, the crew chief, this morning for Tony Stewart, also Steve Letarte, the crew chief for Jeff Gordon, and I asked that question: what do you guys do? Do you go out and try to win or try to get points? They said for 400 miles today, we try to win. We do our best to win. At that point, when we see how we are, we adjust. If we have a car that's capable of winning, we try to win. If not, we try to get the best position we can for the points available. But Wally, they got to be concerned today about brakes.
Yeah, we saw that earlier this year. You know, with the new gear rule, you don't shift anymore, so you don't really slow the car down with the gear. So you have to use a lot of brakes here. As Jeff Gordon found out, they better be there when you're going down into turn 1 at about 200 miles per hour. He took a vicious hit. And it's one of those deals where you don't have the openings in the front of these cars like you would on a short track because you're going so fast, you don't want those openings for the brakes, so they try to pull air elsewhere. But, you know, when you're driving here, you're always pumping the brake, hoping that it's there. And without the gear changing, you got to rely on the brakes. It's a horsepower racetrack also, so the guys that have the big motors, they're going to be the fast guys here today.
There are 36 races throughout the season. The series comes here twice a year, and most of the drivers will tell you the toughest 2.5 miles in NASCAR Nextel Cup racing are right here in Pocono. Let's go trackside and rejoin the ceremonies.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have the 2 big men in the state of Pennsylvania. Bob Casey, the state treasurer, Senator Santorum, the U.S. Senator, are going to give you those famous words. Go, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
43 cars roar to life. Only one driver is 500 miles from victory. Jeremy Mayfield won here in June of 2000 when he started 22nd. Today, he starts 22nd. The starting grid in Wally's world, then the green flag next. Budweiser congratulates Denny Hamlin for his second pole of the season, and he is the defending champion of the Budweiser Shootout at Daytona. We'll see him there in February. And here's the starting grid for today's Pennsylvania 500. Denny Hamlin on the pole. He won from the pole here 6 weeks ago. Ryan Newman starts outside of row 1.
In row 2, a couple of young guys on the inside. Casey Kane on the outside. Brian Vickers, who has a great chance to win today.
In row 3, three-time Pocono winner Jeff Gordon. Next to Jeff Burton, looking for his first win since 2001.
We find the Busch brothers in row 5. Kurt, who won this race last year, and Kyle Busch, who won last week.
And we'll take a look at the rest of the starting grid. We'll remind you one more time there was no practice here yesterday, and that there will be a competition caution at lap 20. No refueling under green until after that competition caution. Wally's going to dial up his new friend Carl Edwards on the radio.
Let's try him. Hey, Carl, this is Wally in the booth. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear, Wally. I didn't know you'd be talking to me after what I did to your car.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that. You know, the Petties have some rules about what you can do with the Wally's World car, and you broke all of them. The king is looking for you.
Well, I tell him I deeply apologize, but Denny is such a bad influence on me, man. He just, it was all him. He was telling me, spin it out, spin it out. I said, no, Denny, I don't think we ought to do that. And he wouldn't let me, get away with it.
Yeah, the tape showed that. You're absolutely right, Carl. Hey, how about your car today? You got something that you can get up there and race Denny with?
Yeah, I hope I can get up there and race Denny. Our Office Depot Fusion's great. We're trying to kick off our back-to-school promotion with a win here. You know, we got to get back to victory lane. This could be the place for us, you know.
Well, you know how to get around this place, that's for sure. So good luck today, and you guys, you got that caution at lap 20, but go get them.
All right, thanks, Wally, and thanks for having me, letting me drive your car. That was fun.
No problem. It'll never happen again, Carl.
Good for.
Oh, they had a blast doing that, didn't they?
It sure looked like it.
Sure did. And Jimmy Spencer starts 43rd today here at Pocono. No drivers to the back, and you see the 4 drivers that did not qualify for today's 500-mile race. A very tight pit road here at Pocono. The pit stalls are large, but the outside wall can squeeze the cars together. When they get busy, our guys are spread out from pit in near turn 3 all the way to pit out toward turn 1. Let's start with Marty Snyder.
Bill, here in June, Kyle Busch got a speeding penalty coming onto pit road. So how do you solve that? Well, if you qualify high enough, you can pick the very last stall on pit road, and that's what they did today. They're in the very first stall, so it's kind of hard to get a speeding penalty coming onto pit road. They hopefully have eliminated that problem. This will be their lucky stall, hopefully getting them their second win in a row. Now, what bad thing happened to Kyle this week is he lost his lucky sunglasses that had taken him to 3 straight top 5 finishes. He has some brand new ones, but if they're not bringing good luck, he's going to effort the search for the old sunglasses. Dave?
Marty, Jeff Gordon has already talked about it, and Benny and Wally have already talked about it. Brakes very important here. Jeff and his team trying to overcome the bad brake situation they had earlier at Pocono. They think they've got that solved. The good break for Jeff this weekend, a pit stall with an opening right before it. Easy entry into Jeff's pit. Hopefully that way he can get on and off pit road, looking for his 4th Pocono win. Matt?
Dave, it's already been a very productive weekend for Kevin Harvick. Saturday, he won a grandfather's clock down at Martinsville, winning the Busch race. A win today would be the 3rd time in his career he won a Busch and Cup race the same weekend. Now, Harvick's team chose pit stall number 10 here on pit road. Now, there is some concern because the last 5 races here, there have been at least 20 cars on the lead lap, which means a good chance Harvick will have a good car behind him pitting and a good car in front. So they're going to try to work together so there aren't issues on pit road. Harvick rolls off from the 12th position. He's never scored a top 5 here at Pocono. He hopes to change that today. Alan?
Matt, a little over a month ago, Denny Hamlin started on pole and won here at Pocono from the first pit stall at pit exit. He's on pole for this race, also in that very first pit stall at pit exit. His crew chief Mike Ford's message to Denny and the team this morning: don't be overconfident. Just because you won here last month doesn't mean you're going to win today. And along those lines, the second message was communicate. For Denny from the driver's seat to keep feeding information back to the team in the pits on their car's handling so they can keep up with adjustments and have the best car when it counts the most at the finish. Bill?
Thanks, Alan. You guys have a great race down there. And you heard Alan talk about communication. Here's the pre-race pep talk from the points leading team of Jimmie Johnson.
So have a good day. Let's head off on this off weekend with something we're proud of. And that's just giving everything we got. We don't know what today's going to hold for us. Let's just do all that we can, whatever it takes. You guys are the best.
Johnson, a former winner here at Pocono. And again, the championship leader. 2.5-mile track, 3 very distinct turns, 43 cars, 500 miles. Glad you're along for the ride. The green flag in the air on TNT. Denny Hamlin leads lap number 1. They head down that long straightaway into that very fast first turn.
And it's no surprise that Denny Hamlin was able to get that lead in the tunnel corner. In talking to the crews yesterday, they said that 11 car was by far the fastest car through the tunnel corner here in June 5 weeks ago.
Had an amazing...
fast under 1 and 2, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say he's fast everywhere by the looks of it. Really, when you come into the tunnel turn here, if you can be on the bottom, it's a little bit better position to be to overtake the guy. Because if you can be on the bottom and stay on the bottom when you get to turn 3, the inside is really where you want to be in 3.
The Busch brothers were side by side there. Kurt in the 2, Kyle in the 5. There's Hamlin, the race leader, Ryan Newman, Brian Vickers, Jeff Burton. And Kurt and Kyle.
There was no brotherly love as they came off that tunnel corner. Kurt Busch in that 2 car dove, and it looked like he missed his brother by about 6 inches trying to take that spot away.
Kurt on the back bumper of Jeff Burton, and that 2 team of Kurt Busch really in a desperate situation if they want to make the chase, especially after falling out at New Hampshire last week. Hamlin stretches it out. Casey Kane in the 9. Jeff Gordon behind him in the 24. Kane around Kyle Busch, and here comes Gordon looking to the inside.
And once again, Kyle Busch seemed to have some trouble in that tunnel corner and loses a spot.
This is for second. Ryan Newman in the 12. Brian Vickers in the 25.
A lot of guys talking about the 25 in the garage area this morning, PP.
Yeah, I talked to Lance McGrew, the crew chief, on that 25, and he said, we are going to win today. Get Brian Vickers his first victory.
Really? Marty?
And guys, they are so confident in this race car and the setup they have underneath it today. They said it's the same thing they ran here in June. I said, you know, a lot of teams learned something at Indianapolis. Did you put any of that on your race car? He said, nope. Do we have the car to beat here in June except for that 11 car? If we can just catch him, that's the only car I'm really worried about. But I think we have a car, same thing he told you, BP, that can win this race.
Pretty even there. Ryan Newman and Vickers in the tunnel turn 2. How's Ryan's car looking there, Dave?
Their assessment before the race, Wally, was not good. Talked to crew chief Matt Borland and said, you know, I don't know what we have. We really could have used the Saturday practice, which got rained out. We'll see what happens at the beginning. So far, Newman reporting a little bit tight all the way around the racetrack, but they really weren't sure until they got started what they would have.
Yeah, it really looked tight there in turn 3 that time. Vickers got a pretty good run on there. It looks like he's tight right there. I'll tell you, the 12 car is going very good down the straightaway, so because even though he was tight off of 3, he was able to stay ahead of Vickers, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it here.
Vickers around on the inside.
Now he's just got 1 car to catch, but a lot of guys had a lot of trouble catching that car back 5 weeks ago, talking about Denny Hamlin in the 11.
And it wasn't a situation where he was out front all day either. Because of the adversity he had to fight throughout the race, he was able to race through the pack and pass everybody sometimes 2 or 3 times.
That's right. When he blew the left rear tire, he did some damage to the battery boxes. They had to come in and repair all that stuff, change batteries. So he did have to start at the rear of the field a couple times, but still came back to win.
Hamlin leads, Vickers is second, Ryan Newman runs third. Newman comes in off the disappointing finish at New Hampshire last week, a race in which he ran into Tony Stewart and then was hit on the ensuing caution. Here's Ryan's view of his run-in with Stewart last Sunday.
Two stubborn drivers, I think. Tony and I got together. I had fresh tires. He didn't. He had a really good fast race car, but unfortunately, my 8 tires were better than his 4. And you know, I talked to him today. We're good with everything. He knows he was racing me hard, and I know I was racing him hard to get back to be only 1 lap down, and that was a difficult situation for us, especially where we're at in points. So we're cool. He invited me to go fishing. We'll be fine.
I'd make sure there's 2 life jackets on that boat.
So, might be a bait problem, is what you're saying, huh?
An invitation, all right.
Ryan Newman still fishing for his first win of the season, and here's the incident he was talking about last Sunday at New Hampshire. Ryan on the inside of Tony Stewart. Ryan really drove it in there hard.
And also, Tony didn't give him any room. I mean, they both went in there tight, and Tony held him down. And normally, you got a guy down there on the bottom. If you think he's going to slide up, you'll drive up the racetrack a little bit. But neither one of them gave, and that's what happened.
Newman currently runs third. Tony Stewart is 11th with 6 laps in the books here in Pocono. On board with Jeff Burton. Well, it's the story of the weekend. 6 weeks ago, Denny Hamlin started on the pole and won. Today, he started on the pole, and he's leading again. Still under green here at Pocono. 9 laps are complete. Here's a look at our AutoZone in the zone drivers for this season. Kyle Busch with the 3 straight top 3 finishes. 3 straight top 10s for Kevin Harvick, who won the Busch race yesterday in Martinsville. And Jeff Burton continues to have a superb season driving for Richard Childress, our AutoZone in the zone drivers.
Wow. See ya.
4-second lead for Denny Hamlin over Brian Vickers, Ryan Newman, Jeff Burton, and Kurt Busch. Jeff Gordon on the move into 5th around Burton.
Casey Kane's going to go with him.
More from Dave Burns.
Talked to Jeff right before driver's introduction, asked him how his car was, and he told me pretty good. Felt like they had a car that, even though they didn't get the practice yesterday, felt good enough in Friday's practice. But he said, wait and see. So I guess this is good, Marty.
Well, Dave, at the start of the race, Casey Kane kind of fell back. He said he was feeling out his race car. They were concerned about the weather. He said he loved the car on Friday when it was very hot and slick out there. Today, it's a little cooler. They just wanted to feel it out. Car not turning as well as Casey would like. Alan?
When I talked with Jeff Burton before the race, he thought that their car would be decent today, but said, how do you know, with the lack of practice and the change to the left side tire, this first run of the race is really going to be a lot about feeling out what you've got and beginning to make adjustments on it for the rest of the day. You just saw Burton slip back a couple of spots. He started in 6th position, moved up initially. Now he's back to 7th spot.
And you talked about the competition caution at lap 20. That's because of the new left side tire that Goodyear brought here. They didn't get any practice on it in race conditions, so NASCAR said we need to look at this thing in about 20 laps.
Want to drop back to about the 38th position and take a look at 19-year-old Stephen Light. He's from Asheville, North Carolina, just 10 Busch Series starts, but today making his debut in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series.
My name's Stephen Light. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. I started racing go-karts and quarter midgets when I was about 5 or 6 years old. And then when I was 12, I started racing late models. And then that kind of just led to here. I always looked up to Dale Earnhardt Sr. He was always the one. He was my favorite driver growing up. And sooner or later, I mean, I wouldn't be not open to the fact of running both full-time Busch and Cup. Sooner or later, I mean, I'd like to do that. It'll be fun. It'll be exciting. I think it'll be nerve-wracking more than anything, you know, getting through the first 5 or 10 laps of being in a whole field of cars like that.
Well, Doug Gates told me this morning that the plan was fairly simple for the young man. Just go out there, complete as many laps as you can, try to finish on the lead lap, but more importantly, earn the respect of the other drivers. And you can tell from listening to that he's a very composed 19-year-old young man.
There's Jimmie Johnson on the move on the outside of Tony Stewart for the 9th position. Now, Steve is going to try and make the Brickyard 400 in 2 weeks. He tested there, and NASCAR has approved him to compete in that race, but they did suggest he come here and get some laps. But him going to that Indianapolis test is one of the greatest stories you'll ever hear, BP.
Well, the Yates operation took him to Chicago just to watch the race, listen on the radio, and get an idea of what's going on. And then they decided, well, let's go to Indy and test.
from Chicago. He gets down there, he has no clothes. He's at Kmart at 2 o'clock in the morning buying 4 or 5 pairs of trousers, shirts, shoes, everything. He bought a pair of Shaq tennis shoes for 29 bucks. He was so proud of that. But he goes to Indy with no clothes, no nothing.
He said he had his wallet, his car keys, and his cell phone, and that was it. And they decided, well, we're going to put you in Elliott Sadler's backup car at the Brickyard. Come on, you're coming with us. So no luggage, but he got to make the trip. Now he's racing in his first race, and he's made it through the first 13 laps. So I'm sure he's just excited to be here.
Jeff Gordon just took over the 4th spot from Ryan Newman.
But this guy leads by about 5.5 seconds. Denny Hamlin. Competition caution coming up in about 5 laps. We'll take a break, come back from that. Denny Hamlin out front at Pocono. A rising star of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. But can he make the chase? Denny Hamlin leads by 6.5 seconds over Brian Vickers. Time now for the singular race talk question. Who will be the next under 25 driver to win a Cup race? Reed Sorensen or Brian Vickers? To vote, text the word race to 191 on your singular wireless phone, and you'll have a chance to win a first-class trip to Miami. Denny Hamlin's 8th race that he's led in 2006, and he's led both the races here at Pocono. There is the race leader. More from Allen.
So you're Denny Hamlin's crew chief, and you watch your driver build up about a 5-6 second lead, and as he comes by you on the front stretch, you radio him and you say, hey, don't show all your hands so early in the race. The driver radios back and says, I'm just riding. Marty?
Well, Alan, Brian Vickers is saying what the other 42 guys are saying. How do we catch that 11 car?
So just a little tight center off of 2. One. Close tight center off of 1. Not too bad. I can back the corner up. I felt like we're real good through turn 2. Pretty decent down in 3. I don't know where he's beating us, but he's still beating us by 2 to 4 tenths. I don't know where we can get it.
And that's the problem for Lance McGrew, the crew chief. He kind of just shook his hands or shook his head when he said that, because how do you fix a car that's almost perfect in Brian Vickers' case, a little bit tight in 1 and 2, and that's it, to try and catch that 11 car that's so much faster, guys.
Thanks, Marty. Just saw 5th place change hands. There's Vickers in 2nd, now 7 seconds behind Denny Hamlin. But in about 2 laps, he's going to be right on his rear bumper.
We've run 18 laps, and every lap so far, Denny Hamlin 11 car has had the fastest lap.
Fans, listen to your favorite drivers' in-car audio throughout the race with NASCAR.com's Race Day Scanner. Start your 14-day free trial today, exclusively on NASCAR.com. What's your favorite word?
Free.
There you go. Start today. Again, a new left side tire here, so NASCAR looking at a competition caution around lap 20, and that's what we're working right now. Hamlin 7.5 seconds in front of Vickers, then Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, and Casey Kane. Clint Boyer's moved his way up to 7th, so he's been one of the drivers advancing forward in the field today. Started 14th.
And here comes Carl Edwards. Man, he got such a terrific run off that corner. Carl started 16th, and he's where?
11th spot. Well, he's trying to get 11th from Burton.
Allen?
Bill Hitchcock, Carl Edwards crew chief Wally Brown was really worried this morning. After coming up here a month ago and running well, they felt they didn't have a car that was able to contend with Denny Hamlin's and compete for the win. So they made what he called significant adjustments and changes to the front suspension setup on that car, and then didn't get any race trim practice yesterday. Wally was very worried about how that car was going to perform in the opening laps of this race. So far, not bad, huh?
Yeah, well, he got those bonus laps in Wally's car. That has to help you, because anytime anything handles that bad, you know your car is going to be better.
I think that bonus laps would be exactly what that was about, and I think he decided that he could take out all of his racing frustrations on Wally's car.
And he did very well. Looks like his car is pretty good. I mean, according off of Burton's back bumper, looks like Carl's car's pretty good through the corners.
And the competition caution is now being waved over the Pocono Raceway. 20 laps are complete. Denny Hamlin, the race leader. He has led all 20 laps from the pole. Vickers, Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane, Ryan Newman, Clint Boyer, Jimmie Johnson, Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, the top 10. And look at that. Jeez. We'll take a break, come back for pit stops from Pocono. The field just entering pit road. Let's go to Marty Snyder.
Second place, Brian Vickers said his car's a little bit tight in 1 and 2, half-pound in the right rear tire. He's in the middle of your screen, that 25 car. A little concerned with his brake pedal, which he said is soft early in the race, Dave.
Bottom of your screen, Jeff Gordon loose in everywhere, tied off everywhere. They make a wedge, a track bar, and air pressure adjustment to try to help Jeff's car.
Believe it or not, they are going to make adjustments to Denny Hamlin's car. They've taken a track bar adjustment on the back end and made air pressure adjustments to the front tires. 4 tires on this car, and he will hold the lead on pit road. Matt?
The highest running Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet, Clint Boyer in the 07. Minor air pressure adjustment. The car was tight in 1 but loose in the tunnel turn and 3. They didn't want to take a big swing at it like a lot of other teams have here on pit road, Bill.
And there you see the Nextel race off of pit road. Nextel celebrating speed, teamwork, and getting things done instantly. Crew cam at work, BP.
Heath Cherry, right rear tire carrier for the 11 car. He throws the tire on, gets the left side. Barry Cook jerks off the tire. Heath stamps it on, ties it up. Go, Denny, go!
Field has gotten the 1 to go, but let's go inside the TNT pit window. Troubles for the 24 bunch.
Let's watch the rear. Kevin Gilman, the rear tire changer. Jeff Knight, the carrier. Kevin takes the tire off, and Jeff slams off the rear, but Kevin says, wait a minute. We have a lug nut jammed on the brake rotor. They got to take the tire back off, then install the tire, and then tighten it up. Lost 100 positions, Bill.
And comes back, will restart 14th after running in the top 5.
That was still a pretty good reaction.
Gordon went in 4th. He's now scored 14th on the racetrack. Here is our Craftsman Pit Summary. Kurt Busch picking up a position, and Denny Hamlin has led everything here.
I can't believe they made a adjustment on that 11 car, isn't it?
Why would they do that?
I don't know. When you're 0.3 of a second faster than everybody, I think I'd leave it alone for a while, but we'll see.
Got to find out. Green in the air. Kurt Busch on the back bumper of Hamlin.
Oh, we got a car on the wall. Michael Waltrip in the wall. Hard.
I'm wrecked bad. The pit, guys, I think.
Not sure what it looked like.
I mean, I clobbered the wall. I don't know what I got.
Well, be careful going down in 1. You might clobber it again, Mikey.
And his season of frustration continues.
Man, he hit it a ton, and they were just getting up to speed.
I can't tell. If I got smoke? No smoke, and NASCAR says you look good from the outside the track.
Oh, I'll tell you what. You hit that hard, I think I'd be coming in just in case.
Still looking for his first top 10 finish of the year.
Looks like he got tagged from behind and got turned right in the wall, but that right rear looked like took a shot, BP, but who knows?
Oh, right side.
Okay. That was Jeremy Mayfield, I think, that got behind him.
But it sounded like on the radio.
The car in front of him did not get. Michael took off and then backed off, and that's when the 19 ran in the back of him.
And you'll have that here, especially because they're so strung out on the restarts. And watch for that late in the race as well. If there's a late race caution, guys trying to get the best restart possible with a handful of laps left. Kurt Busch at least able to keep Denny Hamlin in sight for now.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I don't know if they made any adjustments on that 2 car, but if they did, they look awfully good. This is as close as anyone has been in that 11 car, Alan.
Well, BP, Kurt complained about lacking front end grip when the race started with the 2 car, but then as that run went on, said it came to him. So no adjustments on that stop other than a quick stop and 4 tires and fuel.
Kurt, the defending champion of this race.
Boy, look at that run off the corner.
That helped.
That 2 car was getting smaller and smaller.
In a hurry.
Vickers right behind Busch. Then Casey Kane. Ryan Newman, who started outside the front row, is 5th. Kane in the 9, Vickers in the 25. It's really good to hear the confidence on that 25 bunch, thinking they're going to, because Vickers has really been close. The finishes are not really indicative of how well they have run at some tracks this season.
Last week at Loudon,
yes,
he had a car as fast as anyone.
On board with Kasey Kahne, we check with Marty.
And Bill, in terms of changes on the last stop for Kasey Kahne, said the front end of the car just was not working on that first run. They took a half-pound out left rear tire. They also took a round and a half out of the left rear in wedge. And Kasey came on the radio 2 laps in the run, said, guys, car already a lot better.
Lots of speed down here. Very fast racetrack.
And very rough, too.
Very rough. 190 miles per hour getting into the tunnel turn there. And you're coming up on turn 3 real. When you're sitting in the race car, it feels like it's flat as a board.
Really?
Yeah. It feels like it's even banked to the right when you're sitting in one of these cars. I couldn't believe going around in a rental car the first time after I've driven here so many times going, I can't believe there's this much banking over here, because it doesn't look like it when you're racing.
Hamlin leads, being chased by Kurt Busch, Brian Vickers, Kasey Kahne, and Ryan Newman. When we come back to Pocono, we will take you through the field. You're watching the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series live on TNT. The NASCAR Nextel Cup Series in front of about 100,000 fans, and a crash on the front stretch. Carl Edwards and Clint Bowyer are in it.
And Carl looks like has some damage to the right front fender. Yes.
And this will be very critical to his chances of making the chase.
Bowyer was having a good run.
He was.
I don't see a whole lot of damage there, so he might be okay.
Let's go back and take a look.
They came across the line battling for the 12th position. Oh, I see Tony Stewart and Clint Bowyer get together. And when Bowyer goes down to dodge Tony, runs right in the side of Carl Edwards.
Carl came in 13th in the championship standings.
Ooh, Tony almost got in the fence.
Then came down and got Bowyer, and that took out Carl Edwards.
Looked to me like Stewart was mad at Bowyer,
yeah, exactly,
and drove into Bowyer.
That's what it looked like.
Edwards second a week ago, and his crew works on his car.
He has gone 1 lap down.
Allen?
Well, Carl drove the car backwards up the pit road to the garage area. Then the crew told him, turn it around, bring it back to the pit space so they could look at it. The initial thought is throw some tires on it, see if they can roll around the racetrack and not lose any more laps. And now they're underneath the right front trying to see what's going on there. And I'll get an update when they get back over the wall and can tell us more.
39th at Daytona, 20th at Chicago, second last week at Loudon. Looked like he might be able to work his way into the chase.
Well, you need that right front fender here.
Yes, you do.
Not only the right front fender, but I'm sure that there's going to be some suspension pieces broken. He took a good lick to that right front tire.
Former winner here.
Yes, sir. Get the tire on it. Let's get out there, make a lap. Let's get the shit ready. We can come back in and pop it or something on there. Let's go, guys.
We apologize for that language on the radio in the heat of the battle. These teams trying to make the chase. The frustration clearly is there.
Yeah, it's just, and it gets worse and worse.
You can feel it in the garage area when you walk in there Friday morning, and you can sense it on Sunday as well. Here we go again. See Tony's hand come out the window?
Yes, gesturing to Clint Bowyer in a 07. I guess Tony felt like that Bowyer forced him up against the outside retaining wall off turn 4.
The problem is that well, let's listen to see what Tony has to say.
Dave?
Well, I just heard a part of it, Benny. It relates to what you said. Tony's comment was, how did he not see me up there? Referring to Bowyer.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. No, the problem is, I mean, you know, you're mad at another guy, you go to turn down at him, and then somebody completely innocent like Carl Edwards gets the worst of it.
Almost everybody coming to pit road, Marty.
Brian Vickers ran in third for much of that run, Bill. The car just a little bit tight still in turn 1, but excellent in 2 and 3. They're going to leave it alone. 2 tires only and fuel for the 25 car. Dave?
The 20 car of Tony Stewart has been tight. He told crew chief Greg Zipadelli, you made a big adjustment for me there, but I still need more. Not quite as much as the first time, but just give me some more. Fuel only, slight adjustment, Allen.
The wedge wrench has already gone in and out of the left rear window on Denny Hamlin's car. A 4-tire change to go with it. He's going to lose some track position by some other people playing strategy.
And the 48 car is having trouble getting going. What's up with Jimmie Johnson down there, guys? Oh, there he's finally moving.
Johnson slowly rolls off of pit road. We'll check on Johnson's situation and reset the running order when we come back to Pocono. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing from Pocono Raceway on TNT. Brought to you by GM, same company, new tune. By Subway Restaurant, Subway, drive hard, eat fresh. And by Allstate, official insurance sponsor of NASCAR. Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin did not pit, but a developing story with the 20 of Tony Stewart. He has been black flagged for rough driving.
Yeah, here you see him on the outside. He feels like he's getting squeezed up by Bowyer. You'll see his hand come out the window. He's mad. He turns into Bowyer. Unfortunately, Bowyer spins and takes out an innocent Carl Edwards. You know, and the thing about it is here, you know, Tony Stewart drives the car as hard as he can every lap. You know, you drive with a lot of passion, and you're mad at a guy. There's no question about it. But man, you've got to keep your head, especially this time of the season. The only guy that's going to take himself out of the chase is Tony Stewart. Got to let this stuff go sometimes, and because now this is going to cost him. He's going to go a lap down.
Dave Burns.
Well, Tony Stewart is on pit road to serve this penalty. Greg Zipadelli has been having a very, very heated discussion with the NASCAR official down here. I've never seen Greg Zipadelli as mad as this. He looked immediately back to last week, an incident where no drivers were penalized in Loudon, New Hampshire, where his driver was involved with Ryan Newman. And guys, I've never seen Zip this mad. They're going to put 2 tires on the left side while they're here. They took 2 on the last stop, and he'll have 4 matched fresh tires, but not happy at all down here.
Being held for a 1-lap penalty, and Tony will not be eligible for the lucky dog because it's a penalty from NASCAR. He didn't lose the position on the track. He will have to earn it back, but he will be able to double up on the restart. 1 to go when they come back this time. Kyle Busch, the 5 car, they change front shocks, then too fast exiting pit road. He will have to restart at the end of the longest line. They continue to work on the 5 car of Kyle Busch. Under caution here at Pocono. We'll come back for the restart. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Another look at this incident between Tony Stewart, Clint Bowyer, and Carl Edwards.
We see him coming off the corner. There, the black car, Bowyer. He forces Tony Stewart, the 20 car, up the racetrack. But as he comes off 4, he gives at 3. He gives him room. Tony barely touches the wall, but he is upset, Wally.
Yeah, and my point being is that I would have been mad at Bowyer too, but I think I would have let the shaking my fist out the window be enough, because this penalty could have been avoided if he would have just shook his hand, you know, been angry and moved on. Unfortunately, he took it a little bit farther, and he's paying for it.
We'll restart inside, 1 lap down, currently scored 41st. Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin did not pit. A number of other drivers used a variety of strategies to try to get forward in the field. Denny Hamlin restarted 10th.
We know this 11 car of Denny Hamlin's is awfully fast out front. Let's see how he does back in traffic.
7th race Ryan Newman has led here in his 10 starts. And the 8th race he has led in 2006. Started outside the front row.
Pickers to the inside of Martin. Sets his sights on the 24 car. Jeff Gordon right in front of him.
And we'll just remind you that Tony Stewart has to race his way back onto the lead lap. He's not eligible for the lucky dog because he did not lose the lap in competition. Dave.
And guess who was just told that? The leader, Ryan Newman. Ryan, be aware, the 20 has to race his way back onto the lead lap.
You mean his fishing buddy,
That's
Dave?
Right.
Oh, boy.
But I think that the 20 car of Tony Stewart is going to be faster than the 12 of Ryan Newman. After all, he has 4 fresh tires. If they're worth anything, he's going to be faster because Ryan, he's getting a little loose.
Yeah, Stewart bottomed out there in turn 1. We've seen that from a few cars today. These guys are running these cars so soft to try to get them down on the ground. There's a bump down in 1, and if you hit it just the wrong way, you coil behind these cars and it shoots you up the racetrack. It just bottoms out.
And that all involves the springs, basically?
Yep.
It's where he is right now, off 2 and then off of turn 3. That's where he makes up a little ground. We're also seeing 2 fresh tires. Brian took those on the pit stop just a moment ago, and of course Newman did not.
And Jeff Burton closes in on the leaders. And Tony Stewart would love to see these guys race side by side for a while. There's Stewart at the tail end of the lead lap. Newman, Vickers, Burton, Jeff Gordon, Matt Kenseth at the top 5. This is for the lead.
Wow. Good stuff right here.
Burton's been watching this, trying to decide what move to make.
And the last 2 or 3 laps, this 31 car, Burton, has been the fastest car of these 3. As a matter of fact, the fastest car on the racetrack.
I don't think Jeff is just really trying to force the issue here. I think he's kind of waiting to see what happens between Vickers and Newman.
And Jeff Gordon catching up to the pack. We watch this and check with Dave Burns.
And Bill, Greg Zipadelli's driver, Tony Stewart, was assessed a pretty severe penalty. Zip, what do you think about that penalty?
Hey, it's you know, it's their call. We'll just we'll take our lumps here. We just need a caution. We got a really good race car. We're running faster than them guys behind us now, so if we can do that for a fuel run, we should be in good shape.
You were very calm back to Tony. How's his demeanor right now?
There's no sense getting upset. We got business to do. We just got to suck it up and get it done.
It's a long race here at Pocono, and that's kind of the way they've been talking about it, guys.
Thanks, Dave. Vickers still trying to get the lead from Ryan Newman, while Jeff, Burton, and Gordon watch. And one more note on Zipadelli.
He is ill, really, really sick. I walked by the truck this morning. He was laying on the couch, and as a matter of fact, got up from there, went to his coach, and laid down. Really under the weather.
Burton takes a spot, very strong.
Maybe Vickers said, I can't get by him, you try.
I don't think he said that.
No. Okay.
He went, wow, very strong as the 31 went by.
Well, now he's got his teammate Jeff Gordon behind him, so the 2 Hendrick cars run 3rd and 4th.
17 car coming in the picture, Matt Kenseth. And then Harvick right behind him. We're going to have about a 6-car race here.
Jeff Burton down the front stretch trying to get the lead from Ryan Newman as they head for 1.
And like you said, Bill, this is all good stuff for Stewart. Stewart is putting a lot of distance between these guys now because they're racing so hard with each other.
Jeff Burton out in front of Ryan Newman with 44 laps complete. 17 career wins for the 39-year-old from South Boston, Virginia. But his last victory came 167 races ago. Jeff Burton leads, still under green here at Pocono. Burton by 1.6 seconds over second place Brian Vickers, but there is a ton of racing going on around this 2.5-mile track. Look at this pack.
Yeah, they were 3 wide just a second ago going into the tunnel turn. These guys have been glued to each other's bumpers, trying to find a way around.
We see the 11 car of Denny Hamlin, and watch this. He's going to the outside. That's how well his car is handling. He's going to the outside of Jeff Gordon to go by.
Now turn 3. He should get a pretty good run here, BP.
Ryan Newman in that 12 car led 11 laps, but he's going the wrong way. He didn't stop under a most recent caution.
Jeff Gordon did not stop either. He has old tires.
So Hamlin in the 11 and Kevin Harvick in that 29 car moving forward. There's Hamlin, the pole sitter, looking to get under Newman. And Martin Truex Jr. up to 8th. More on Hamlin from Allen.
Denny Hamlin made his first really negative comments about his car all day just a few laps ago, Bill. Said that the front end was sliding a lot off of turn number 2. When he made that outside move you saw seconds ago, his spotter Curtis Markham, himself a very successful race driver in the NASCAR Busch Series prior to his spotting job, said that was a smart move. Marty?
Alan, Martin Truex Jr. has had a smart race. He's raced his way into the top 10 in the car. Very impressive. You know, he told me this morning, you know what? We raced well here in June. We just had the finish to show for it. Had a bad pit stop at the very end of the race, but the same car today, he said, you know what? We're going to race in the top 10 so far. He's proving us right. Started 10th, running 8th.
Marty, have you been able to check on what Truex did on his most recent pit stop?
They took 2 tires, Bill, and that was one of the reasons they got track position, but they did run in the top 10 before that, so they took 2 tires on the last stop.
Thank you, sir. Denny Hamlin restarted 10th on lap 37, is up to 5th. Hamlin Hamlin just ahead of this group, on board with Ryan Newman, looking back at Jeff Gordon. Two stories developing, affecting the championship picture. The 99 of Carl Edwards first from Allen.
Yeah, Bill, I just talked to his crew chief, Wally Brown, about the damage to the car and the repairs that they made. They still don't have the front end alignment set as they'd like, and the right front fender is damaged. Wally talked earlier about aerodynamics. It's going to be, as Wally told me just a second ago, he said, a long day.
Carl Edwards, 1 lap down, currently runs 43rd, and Kyle Busch, who won a week ago, currently scored 42nd, also 1 lap down.
Doesn't take but a week to humble you in
well,
this
look
business.
at Tony Stewart having the issues, obviously. Kyle Busch and Carl Edwards. More on Tony Stewart from Dave.
And you know, Tony said coming into this week that he was unconcerned about his falling to 11th in the championship, because at the next 6 tracks he's got 9 wins. But a day like today, this could really crush his championship's hopes. Remember, you got to get in it to win it.
That's exactly right. And Dave, every time you fall further back, it makes it that much tougher to close that gap.
It really does, because other people are running well. They're making up ground. They're making their way to the top 10. And Tony just had a bad luck day today.
He's the last guy on the lead lap, and you could actually make the argument that Tony made it his own bad luck, and maybe the only thing that can keep Tony Stewart from winning the championship or getting in the chase is Tony Stewart. There's Gordon inside of Newman.
Gets the spot. And the only one thing that's going Stewart's way right now is he is the fastest car on the racetrack right now, so he's still in position to get that lap back if the yellow comes out.
Well, you two guys have been watching the race and the timing, and he has been very impressive on the clock as well as on the track.
Almost every lap, Tony Stewart in the 20 car has been faster than the leader. So, you know, they're not going to chase him down and put him a lap down.
Right. More from pit road from Dave.
Looking at this group of cars, Bill, first of all, the 24, remember they had that lug nut fall in between the brake pad and the wheel. Talk to tire carrier Jeff Knight and his tire changer Kevin Gilman. Have you guys ever had that happen before? They said, yep, one time when we were a team on the 88 crew. It happened at Daytona. We didn't like it then either. As for the 12 of Ryan Newman, going backwards because his car is tight, especially going into turn 1.
And just to update you on Tony Stewart, he is 6 seconds in front of race leader Jeff Burton as they run right now with 52 laps complete. We'll take a break, come back to Pocono on TNT. Jeff Burton in the singular Chevrolet leads by 3 seconds over Brian Vickers here at Pocono. Let's pay off our singular race talk poll. Who will be the next under 25 driver to win a cup race? Pretty close.
Yeah, Vickers has 60%.
Yeah, but you let the cat out of the bag, because what did you say that they told you about Vickers today?
They're going to win today.
Okay, that's the way I would have. If you said it, BP, that's the way I'm voting.
And currently he's running second.
How about that?
But he's got to catch this guy.
All right, well, let's take you through the field, starting with race leader Jeff Burton, and here's Alan Bell.
Well, Jeff Burton moving out in front at lap 46 and having a fine day. Burton looking for his first win in a long time, says he gets really nervous about pit stops these days, and it has nothing to do with his pit crew.
With the penalties I've had so far this year, quite a while. You know, we've had 2 pit road penalties for speeding, and we're going to have to back our pit road speed down. But you know, it's as tight as things are and as tough as competition is, you hold your breath about everything anymore. I mean, you know, things can be going well and it's not going well. It's just so tough. So I hold my breath after every pit stop to make sure that we don't have some kind of penalty coming.
Well, no penalty on that last pit stop. Just right side tires, and Burton's car really came alive. Marty?
Al, on the front end of that 25 car, way back there is Brian Vickers, just not working like he would like, meaning the car is tight off the corners. Then when he got up inside the 12 earlier when he was trying to pass him for the lead, the car just would not go. Can't be aggressive with the throttle like you would like to, Matt.
Kevin Harvick's lap time's faster than the leader, his teammate in the 31 of Burton. Now, the 29 of Harvick, his car was tight earlier on. They have made changes every single stop. They have worked the car to where Harvick needs it. 2 tires in the last stop to AB.
Denny Hamlin dominated the opening 33 laps of this race, building up a 7 1/2 second lead. He got shuffled back to 10th place by pit strategy on the lap 33 stops. He's working his way back to the front. He's in 4th. Matt?
The 17 of Kenseth starts out great, but then the car slowly migrates to the tight side. He was telling Robbie Reiser, his crew chief, he was concerned whether he was grinding, bottoming out the valence. You see him go look to the high side there. He's in the pit position, Dave.
Matt, pit stop time already for Jeff Gordon. He's about 2 laps away now. Remember, he stayed out on that caution where Clinton Boyer was involved with Tony Stewart, so they're going to have to come to the pits. Remember, the 12 will be on that strategy as well. Marty?
An impressive run for Martin Truex Jr., currently in the 7th position, but he's not in the position he wants to be behind Jeff Gordon, because when his car is behind Gordon and others, it gets too aero-tight, meaning the car just doesn't want to turn. He needs some clean air on the front of that car, Alan.
A little miscommunication on a pit stop cost Jimmie Johnson some track position, not among Jimmie and his team, but among Jimmie's team and the NASCAR official in their pits. They made a 2-tire change on the stop, but Jimmie couldn't pull out of the box without running over the official who was coming around the front of the car. That's why Jimmie got shuffled back before. Marty?
Let's jump in here. Ryan Newman coming down pit road. Ryan Newman, Jeff Gordon, and Mark Martin did not stop under the caution on lap 32. Dave?
I told you the 12 might be on that early pit stop strategy. They're going to raise the track bar 3 rounds. Remember, a tight race car. Also make an air pressure adjustment. Put some tape on the grill just a little to try to help Ryan's car turn. 4-tire stop.
And he is not going to go a lap down. As he comes down pit road, almost to the exit of pit road, off turn 4 comes the leader. So it looks like that Ryan can easily stay in front of Jeff Burton.
Right about now, they're thinking it was nice being up front, but stopping under that caution might have been a good idea.
Yeah. But they only ran 26 laps or something. No, I guess about 35 laps at max.
But that's really the first fuel run you can check, because the first was only 20 laps. Let's continue going through the field. Pick it up with the 26 car of Jamie McMurray, Marty.
And Bill, it's been no secret this has been a tough season for Jamie McMurray. Just 1 top 10 in his last 6 races, and he knows a good one today at Pocono will go a long way to making 2006 a little better.
Right now we feel like we're out of the chase and just have to work towards next year. They had a meeting last week with Bob and Carl, and they both decided they want to stay where they are at. So that was encouraging for me. I was glad to see Bob want to stay and work with us. But it has been it's been very frustrating. But I honestly see that it's going to get better. We've made some improvements to our cars, and you know, hopefully over the next 15 races we can get better and be ready for next year.
McMurray took 2 tires on his last stop, but for the guys who didn't take any tires and didn't stop at all last time, these green flag stops are starting, Dave.
Here comes the 24, Marty, into his pit box very well. We talked about that clean entry at the beginning of the show. They will make looks like a track bar adjustment, a wedge adjustment, and air pressure for Jeff. He's been complaining that the car was loose everywhere except for turn 1, where it's a little bit tight. Remember, 3 corners here, and guys say if you're going to win, you got to be good in all 3. He's gone.
And that's the challenge here at Pocono. Trying to make your car good in all 3 turns. There's your pole sitter, Denny Hamlin. Won here 6 weeks ago inside of Brian Vickers. That is for 2nd.
Well, I let those 60% astray, didn't I, Bill? Because he's going to have to beat Denny Hamlin in the 11 car to do it, and that just looks like it's going to be difficult to do. Although we got a long ways to go.
We sure do. 139 laps left. We've seen some good racing here at Pocono this afternoon. And Hamlin once again coming through the field.
And Hamlin's car seems like it's better after it runs 10 or 15 laps.
Got the same garage stall. Said he parked his motor coach in the same spot as he did in June. The drivers aren't superstitious, are they?
Oh, no, it's bad luck to be superstitious.
Gonna drop back looking for Dale Earnhardt Jr., who has made his way into the top 10. Dave?
Yeah, Bill, he's been looking for the front of the pack all day long. Finally found that. He was talking about the fact that they still need to make the center of the corner in 1 and 2 a little bit better, but his crew was giving him lap times back, and I guess they're trying to pump him up a little bit. They said one of them was pretty spectacular right there, Junior. So he's worked his way into the top 10, as you said, trying to make a good day after starting 26th.
And finishing 43rd a week ago.
And you know, yesterday morning as they were going through getting their car ready to go on the line, as they checked the valve lash, the distance between the valve rocker and the valve itself, there's about a 20,000th of an inch gap between those. They found one excessive. They started checking around the A car, had a broken push rod. So they found it, they changed all the push rods, and hopefully he'll run 500 miles today.
This on the heel of a broken timing belt last week at New Hampshire. So this week at the shop, the guys went through literally hundreds of timing belts looking for part numbers, manufacturer dates to make sure they didn't get a bad batch of timing belts. Then they redesigned or improved the way the timing belt goes around the pulleys in the car.
I don't understand how that little piece of rubber drives that camshaft anyway.
Yeah, no. This is for third. Kevin Harvick behind Brian Vickers.
Vickers must have just been really losing the handle on this car all of a sudden. It's just getting tighter as the fuel burns off.
We watched that. Mark Martin, who didn't pit under the last caution, is on pit road. Marty?
Yeah, one of the last guys who did not pit under the last caution to come to pit road. Mark said the car actually has been loose for that entire run. Said we need to tighten it up a little bit, guys. 3/4 of a round of wedge in the left rear. Also a pound on the right rear tire, trying to tighten up that car for Mark Martin. And a good stop for the AAA guys.
They weren't that good here in June, so the 6 bunch with limited practice went down to the 16. Their teammate and got some notes on setup. Seeing if it could help Mark here at Pocono today. Their former teammate Jeff Burton out front here in Pocono. He leads by 3.7 seconds over Denny Hamlin. Third caution of the day in the air here at Pocono, and here's why. Kyle Petty.
Oh, looks like the right front tire was flat. I saw black marks leading up to the wall like the brake was working, and they'll be lucky to fix that one.
It's heavy damage. And Kyle's bad luck is good luck for Tony Stewart. He gets back on the lead lap. Was penalized 1 lap for rough driving after this incident with Clint Boyer that sent Carl Edwards spinning along the front stretch.
Tony waves to Boyer and then goes down and runs into the right front. NASCAR held him for 1 lap.
He was not eligible for the lucky dog, had to race his way back onto the lead lap, and he has done that. And Tony Stewart currently scored 36th, but will be back on the lead lap.
He has an awfully fast race car, I know that.
Robbie Gordon is the lucky dog. And Stephen Light was on pit road, making his first Nextel Cup start when the caution came out. So it's Jeff Burton, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Brian Vickers, Martin Truex Jr., the top 5. Then it's Kenseth, Johnson, McMurray, Kurt Busch, and Earnhardt Jr. in the top 10. They're all coming to pit road, and Marty's waiting for him down there.
Brian Vickers running in 4th for much of that run, Bill. He said the car was extremely tight, meaning that front end just wouldn't hook up for him. He said he felt like he burned the right rear tire off. He's on the bottom of your screen in that 25 car. Look for them to pull half of a spring rubber out of the left rear tire. That should loosen up Brian's car quite a bit. They're having trouble, especially in turn 1 and 2 and 3. He's not too bad. Matt?
Kevin Harvick will stop short in his box as Greg Biffle smokes his car into his box. Small air pressure adjustment. The car was neutral on the 29, Alan.
You see the track bar adjustment wrench just being taken out of the right rear of Jeff Burton's car, and air pressure adjustment as well. They told him to stop short in his box, so Denny Hamlin didn't block him in.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. on and off of pit road, a clean getaway after a 4-tire stop up on the track bar. Just 1 round for a car that was just a little bit tight. Bill?
And Denny Hamlin wins the race off of pit road. There's some damage to the back of the 20 of Tony Stewart's car. Take a look here on pit road.
He's coming down pit road, and
is that Carl Edwards that did that?
Carl Edwards was behind him. Another look.
I think Carl's going to be sitting for a lap now.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out. Carl could be in timeout when we come back to Pocono. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. A lot of work by the over-the-wall guys on the Home Depot Chevrolet of Tony Stewart after contact on pit road from Carl Edwards. Tony black flagged earlier in the race for rough driving.
See Carl Edwards trying to line up the front end on that car. Here's Carl Edwards going in the pits behind Tony Stewart. And you get to pit road, and
that's just what we call payback in this business. Although he although he was kind of paid back. NASCAR paid him back pretty good, so I'm not sure that was necessary. But Dave, can you add?
Meanwhile, in the 20 camp, they were going to come down pit road to, you know, make Tony's car better. And before all this happened with Carl, Tony had made his apology to the team, realizing that what he'd done earlier with Clint Boyer was his fault. He said, guys, I apologize. I will make this up to us today. I don't think he meant by contact. I think he meant by racing hard. He's still got a chance to do that, but not if he keeps getting spun out on pit road.
Black flag, car 99, Carl Edwards. You predicted that, didn't you, Wally?
I kind of saw that coming. But, you know, hey, I think NASCAR's done a good job today making these kind of calls. I mean, they don't want, you know, we talked about payback a couple of weeks ago after Chicago.
Right.
And they certainly don't want, you know, this kind of stuff happening. And I think, you know, what Tony did, Tony realized that he blew it, and he's taking responsibility for it. But now Carl doing what he did, I mean, especially after NASCAR gave him a penalty.
Here's what happened earlier. Tony Stewart comes off the corner. Clint Boyer, 07, kind of forces Tony up. Tony doesn't like it. He goes down, hits the 07, who goes down, runs into Carl Edwards. That's what caused all this to start with about 40, 50 laps ago.
Okay, so they penalized Tony. They held him a lap.
And the same thing here. Aggressive driving penalty, Carl Edwards. So Carl Edwards comes to pit road. A lot going on here at Pocono. We'll sort out the running order. Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman did not pit under this caution. They'd already been on pit road under the green. The field is coming to get the green flag here at Pocono from the Busch race yesterday in Martinsville. Kevin Harvick and Clint Boyer teammates in a no passing zone at the close of the race. Harvick got the victory, and he's the championship leader after 21 races this season. Going back to green, Jeff Gordon, Ryan Newman, Mark Martin did not pit. Denny Hamlin restarts fourth. A lot of stories to tell you about. Carl Edwards had to restart at the rear of the field because he also pitted too early in addition to his black flag penalty for aggressive driving. Edwards not eligible for the lucky dog. He's put himself in a very bad situation by spinning Tony Stewart out on pit road. Meanwhile, up front for the lead, 3 wide.
Newman to the outside, takes it. Whoa, Denny Hamlin all the way to the bottom, and he's going to pick up second spot doing it.
Kyle Busch in the 5 cars a lap down.
Now, usually, we've seen earlier, Hamlin's car has not been very good until 10 laps, 15 laps on tires, but we'll see if that has changed since this last pit stop.
NASCAR has warned the drivers of the 20 and the 99 cars to settle down on the track. Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards have both been black flagged today for aggressive driving.
I was just going to say, it doesn't look like it's going to take 10 laps.
And you wonder how Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin, how they're up front. When they pitted earlier, you do not lose a lap when you pit here at Pocono if you're within 10 seconds of the lead. If they were, they made their pit stop. When the caution flag fell, they just stayed on the racetrack. That's what they're doing up front.
Now their tires are not as fresh as the guys that pitted. We'll see how that plays out. Here comes Hamlin in that rocket ship.
What about how far it's those jet engines FedEx? Almost 737 jets, maybe? Acts like it.
They'll be looking for that in post-race inspection. Thank you very much. Alan?
Bill, the pit stop for the 11 car, obviously an excellent one since they got off the pit road first among the cars who stopped. They backed up on one of the adjustments they made to the car earlier, getting it a little closer to the way it was at the start of the race when he was leading by lots.
Well, there has been some racing throughout the pack today.
A lot of traffic back right here in this clump, which is about 10th through 40th. We're going to see 3 wide there.
Battle for second spot. Here comes Jeff Burton in that 31. He has been about the only car today that looks like he might be able to run with the 11 of Denny Hamlin.
On board with Kyle Busch. He lost a lap when they decided to change shocks.
Yeah, when your car's handling that bad that you change shocks during a pit stop, it must have been terrible, Dave. Dave, oh. We've lost Dave.
Uh-oh. We'll put our best man on. Kevin Harvick under Kyle Busch. Maybe.
I think Kyle, Kyle's obviously just trying to hang in there and try to get that lucky dog if the yellow comes out. He doesn't want to be in the way, so to speak.
Right.
These guys are all racing for positions, but he doesn't want to just give it all away and then wind up being in a position to lose that spot.
I'll tell you, these guys work so hard at the shop all week to get the cars ready. Then the crews come to the track. The guys in the garage work for 3 days to get the cars in perfect condition. And it's the 7 guys over the wall that represent them throughout the race. And here are the guys getting it done on pit road for Denny Hamlin.
Mike Ford, Morristown, Tennessee.
Blake Hoagland, Mount Ayr, Iowa.
Donnie Brown, Wilkesboro, North Carolina.
Chris Webb, Manassas, Virginia.
Heath Cherry, Belmont, North Carolina.
Barry Cook, Concord, North Carolina.
Scott Wood, Liberty, South Carolina. John Eicher, London, Kentucky.
The big crew for Denny Hamlin. And he's out front, but there is a ton of racing going on behind him.
See Harvick in the 29 car trying to get on the inside of the 12. Ryan Newman does. Almost. 12 car's got some horsepower. Did you say that?
I think I mentioned that a couple times today.
Jimmie Johnson falls in behind the 24. Caution flag is out. Caution on the speedway. Debris on the front stretch.
The 5 car, Kyle Busch.
We'll get back on the lead lap.
Yep.
We'll wait for the official call, but he should be, and he is the lucky dog. So a big break for Kyle Busch. We'll get to make a free lap around here and get back on the lead lap. Denny Hamlin won here in June, started on the pole. He's back out front at Pocono. Let's take a look at today's DLP Technology race recap. The guys on pit road fired up, ready to go after the opening ceremonies. 100,000 fans. Under sunny skies in Pocono, lap 25, Michael Waltrip gets tapped on a restart.
Into the wall he goes. Oh. Heavy contact. He's still on the racetrack. It's not very competitive.
Then the fun started. Tony Stewart
gets squeezed up. He gets mad. He gets into Boyer. Boyer gets into Carl Edwards. And he gets in trouble for it.
Tony Stewart, a 1-lap penalty. Black flag for aggressive driving. Kyle Petty into the wall hard.
And then the 99 car, Carl Edwards, tries to pay back. Tony Stewart gets into him as he enters pit road. NASCAR holds him for 1 lap.
And we're just back to green. Carl Edwards scored 42nd, 2 laps down. Tony Stewart has worked his way back onto the lead lap. Did not get a lucky dog. Was not eligible for it. He restarts 29th.
Burton's taking a look, but doesn't have enough there. A couple of these guys right there are a lap down in the mix.
Carl Edwards in the 99 being one of them. David Stremme in 40 being another.
The first 18 cars did not pit, including Jeff Gordon, who had pitted back on lap 61. We'll have to see how that plays out for him.
Yeah, I don't quite understand. He had run 15 laps, which is about 40%. About 40% of a pit, of a run. Dave, why didn't they pit?
Car running well, Benny, and a lot of guys up and down pit road were talking about having not reached the pit window yet. They wanted to go 6 or 7 more laps before they started making those decisions on how many more stops would we have to finish out this race. So they will probably have to come in around lap 93 or 94.
Thing is, don't you want to capitalize on a yellow like that?
The only advantage is that you don't get lapped when you pit here. That's the only advantage.
Right.
It's going to be interesting to see how that strategy plays out.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And if they pit now, they obviously would have to go to the end of the line where they've got to race their way back through 25, 30 cars.
Well, actually, since where they were, Gordon probably would have come out about 19th. And all those cars that stopped still would have been behind him.
I guess he thinks 5th's a whole lot better than 19th.
It is until you need fuel. Gordon runs 5th. His teammate Jimmie Johnson, the championship leader, is 6th. Then it goes back to Kurt Busch, Brian Vickers, Jamie McMurray, and Mark Martin. More from Alan Bestwood.
Bill, talking about Jimmie Johnson, and you guys up on the tower had noticed a couple times in turn 1, his car would bottom out and maybe shoot him up the racetrack a little bit. I talked with Chad Canals, his crew chief, under this caution when we had a quiet moment. He said, no big deal, just the roughness of the racetrack down there. He said, we have a top 5 car, and we don't have anything for that 11 yet.
That's a big club that doesn't have anything for the 11 car.
Yeah, I guess there's, what, 41, 42 of them?
Ryan Newman in the 12, Kevin Harvick in the 29.
Battle for third.
Yeah, you're on the straightaway now. Boy, that 12 car does.
Horsepower?
Lots of horsepower. That's your friend here at Pocono. These straightaways are so long. You come off a 3, you're kind of lugging it off a 3, and man, it's all motor down the straightaway.
Matt?
Bill, what a run for Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. Now, he dropped back to 15th earlier in the race. He brushed the wall. They pulled that out in his first stop, and he is solid in the top 5, currently running 4th. His car neutral, just a tick on the tight side, but a very strong run for Harvick, who's never scored a top 5 here.
Thanks, Matt. You saw Kurt Busch pick up the position under Jimmie Johnson. And just behind this bunch, there are some guys that think you can race 3 wide at Pocono.
Well, they did a pretty good job of it.
They did. They did. They really did. Vickers runs back in 8th.
There we go. 2-3 wide. Robbie Gordon at 7 car trying to make it 3 wide.
And the big thing about back here is Tony Stewart is trying to negotiate his way through all of these. And even though he's been at the back of the pack for a number of laps, he has an extremely strong car, Dave.
And he did stop on this last caution. His car still wanted to push up toward the outside of the corners, all 3 of them. So they changed 4 tires, made a track bar adjustment, adjusted that chassis for Tony.
Following his teammate J.J. Yaley in the 18.
Big jump for Harvick as here. 3.
And these have really changed a lot throughout the day. And with 117 to go, they'll change some more.
Hamlin has jumped up 3 spots from 12th to 9th with that terrific run he's had today.
Wow.
Biffle 36 points behind Jeff Gordon. And
Good
Stewart's,
tight racing right there.
It's just terrific.
It's back for about the 19th, 18th position.
I saw that Tony Stewart was only about 74 points out of 10. Well, as fast as his car is, it looks like he can race his way up to the 10th spot. Ooh, the 12th car backs off to let Gordon go, and he has no choice but let Kurt Busch go as well in the 2.
That's his teammate. 12 in the 2, both Penske cars. Here's Kurt under the 24. Busch on the move, Alan.
Yeah, getting this thing rolling. I talked with his crew chief, Roy McCauley, just as this restart went green, Bill. I asked him, they've been talking back and forth on the radio between Kurt and Roy about getting off earlier in the race. And I said, what were you talking about? The car's handling? He said, no, our pit strategy. On the lap 33 stop, when a bunch of guys didn't pit and a bunch of others took 2, they took 4. It cost them their track position. They've been trying to dig out of that hole ever since, now up to 4.
See, Denny Hamlin did the same thing. He changed 4 tires, but his car is so fast, he was able to find his way through all that traffic. If your car is just about average like Kurt Busch's is, it's a struggle to get back to the front.
Got around Gordon.
But he's got that track position in case the yellow does come out and erases that 5-second gap between him and Hamlin.
That's right.
Long way to go in this race.
Kurt Busch comes in off the wreck last week in New Hampshire. There's a 43 of Bobby Labonte and the 16th of Greg Biffle. This is back around 13th, Matt.
Bill, he started the day 66 points out of 8th in the championship standings, but it has been a struggle for Biffle today. Currently running 13th, like you mentioned. The water temperature had climbed to 250 degrees earlier. They took tape off the grill. Now he says he just cannot drive around other people. One point, he's almost wrecking. The car is so loose, and then it just goes super tight. Dave?
Matt, a good run for Bobby Labonte right in front of him. They've been mainly fighting a tight race car all day, like a lot of other people. Up off the corners before was his last complaint. They stayed out on the last caution. Would like to make some more adjustments at their next opportunity, Bill.
Thanks, Dave. Denny Hamlin is the race leader, but listen to this. Tony Stewart restarted 29th on lap 80. He's gained at least one position each lap. Tony Stewart trying to work his way back to the front here at Pocono. Caution has just come out here at Pocono. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has crashed on the backstretch.
You know, they tried to crash off turn 3. It was a big group of cars, and they made it to turn 1, off turn 1. It looks like that big group of cars didn't work.
You were surprised they made it through turn 3, but you didn't think they'd make it back, did you? Here's the tail end of it.
Can't tell if there's contact between the 22 of Blaney and Junior or not.
See if we take another look.
All right, now you see Earnhardt, Sorensen, Blaney. And it looks like Blaney's going to tag Earnhardt. I think he was trying to, they were going straight there. I think he was trying to bump draft him, but it picked up the rear of Earnhardt's car and it turned him sideways, and there was nothing Junior could do about that.
Let's go for a ride on board. This is Kyle Busch.
Oh, man, that was close.
There you go.
Now on board the Budweiser Chevrolet.
Yeah, see, all it did was he was trying to bump draft Junior. When it picked up the rear of the car, it just turned the car a little bit to the right. Not a whole lot you can do when you're a driver when your rear tires come off the ground like that.
And Junior was talking to his crew at the point of impact.
Dave.
You heard part of that. Junior's comment was, I just got wrecked because I can't get up off the corner. He knew he was slow, and he was apologetic because, you know, he knew he got run into, but he wasn't really blaming Blaney.
Well, finished 43rd last week in New Hampshire.
Oh, this is tough, man. I'm telling you what, you know, a couple weeks ago, Junior was feeling pretty good about where he was in points. And then that's the thing about this chase right now. These next few weeks are crucial. You can just lose so much ground by having a couple of bad races.
And a few big winners here with this caution coming out. More on that in a moment. Let's go down to pit road, Marty.
Brian Vickers continues to struggle with a tight race car, Bill. He's falling back into the back half of the top 10. They're going to go up one round on the track bar, put a half pound on the right rear tire. Still trying to loosen this car up, especially in turn 1, Dave.
4 fresh tires for Jeff Gordon. Track is changing a little bit according to Jeff, so they're trying to chase a little bit. Car was a little loose. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment for Jeff. Matt.
Kevin Harvick said his car is great. All he needs is a tear-off pulled off the windshield. No changes. The car is really hauling the mail, says Harvick, AB.
Head-to-head race for the lead between the Denny Hamlin and Jeff Burton pit crews. It will be Team 11 winning the race off pit road. 4 tires for this time.
And a mad dash right behind him.
Plus 16 spots.
You think they use some pit strategy there for Casey Mears?
Fuel only, maybe?
All right. BP, how about some crew cam action for you?
All right, Heath Cherry. Barry Cook changed his tire. Heath Cherry has a tire in his hand, the new one. They jerk it off. He takes the used one back, grabs the new one to go on the left rear. Barry comes around, pops that one off. He slams it on, tighten 5 lug nuts. Go Denny.
Still under caution here at Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania, where Dale Jarrett did not pit, and he is scored as the race leader. Caution out for Dale Earnhardt Jr., involved in a crash on the backstretch. He's currently scored 42nd. Last week, listen.
Timing belt broke on the Bud car. They raised the hood, but it's inside. They can't fix it.
Finished 43rd last week, and here's just a few laps ago.
Yeah, this week just going down that chute. Dave Blaney tries a little bump drafting, but pulled the rear wheels off the ground and it turned Junior's car right, left, and then into the wall right again.
So as they run right now, under caution, with 110 to go, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is 11th in the championship standings, 4 points behind Greg Biffle, and Tony Stewart would be 12th. Still under caution here at Pocono. Dale Jarrett scored as the race leader, but Denny Hamlin is in second. The field sailing into turn 1. The green flag has just come out on lap 93. Dale Jarrett is the race leader. Carl Edwards is not on the lead lap. Denny Hamlin in the 11 wants the lead back.
He's going to get it back pretty quick here. Maybe before turn 2, BP.
He gets it on the inside of the 88 and goes back in front.
Jarrett did not pit under the caution. The lucky dog was David Stremme.
Wow. Burton was right there. Wiggled a little in turn 2, lost a little ground. Here comes Kurt Busch.
All right, these have been, I guess, the 3 fastest cars most of the day, along with Kevin Harvick in the 29 car.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been released from the infield care center. Marty standing by back there to try and talk to Junior. Casey Mears in that 42 Texaco machine, 2 tires on that stop. He's 6th right now, but he's going to lose some spots. There are 3 Hendrick cars right there, the 24, 25, and 48. Gordon in the DuPont Chevy. There's the Lowe's machine of Johnson inside of Mears for a position. Be interesting to see how the 25 of Vickers' car, how his car performs on this run after they got a chance to work on it. How about his teammate in the 48, Alan?
Well, Bill, it's kind of been the game for Jimmie Johnson's team the last 3 seasons. You might not see him up front for a lot of the race, but they seem to find a way to be up front when the checkered flag waves. Chad Knaus told me this morning, that's when it counts the most. We're always focused on the finishing stage of the race. Marty.
And Casey Mears has been Casey Mears' team, I should say, has been chasing this race car all afternoon long. Casey has behind the wheel too. Car's been extremely tight. They tried 2 tires earlier, so they thought, you know what, it worked last time. Let's take it on this stop. Got them all the track position they needed. Now they're in the top 10, working to hang there, Dave.
Marty, Jeff Gordon cleared a little bit of that traffic in the 7th position. After that last pit stop, crew chief Steve Letarte radioed to Jeff. Now we're back in the same pattern as everyone else. Jeff said, I like it here. Enough of that staying out, right, guys?
Meanwhile, in the very back of this, behind Biffle, in front of Ryan Newman, is Tony Stewart.
Right. Up to 13th last time by.
Wow,
this is a lot of cars right here.
And well, look at Tony Stewart go to the outside.
Yeah, I was just saying, you got the 88 that's pretty much, these guys are they're passing them on both sides. The 42, you know, when you're off the tires like this, you're just in the way, really.
Vickers 25 looks like he's going by his teammate. Well, okay, not so fast.
Gordon holds the position. Jamie McMurray runs 8th. Strong run for McMurray so far today. Tony Stewart right behind Bobby Labonte in the 43. Been a long day for Stewart. He's still got 105 laps to go.
And he needs that.
Yes.
I mean, it's been a long day, but he still needs a lot of race to go here to be able to sort this thing out and get some track position. He's got a fast car. But I mean, every time they restart, like right now, he's 5-6 seconds behind the leader. So he needs to pass a bunch of cars, have a caution come out, erase that distance, put himself in the position to win this thing.
You see Dale Jarrett going backwards. It was 11 years ago right here in Pocono when Jarrett got his first win for Robert Yates Racing. It was back in 1995. He made the move to the 28 car, replacing Ernie Irvan after Ernie was injured in a wreck. It was the only win for Robert Yates Racing that year, but Yates Racing has won at least one race in 17 consecutive seasons, but they have not won one this year. And now he's losing both his drivers for next year. More from Marty.
Well, for Dale Jarrett, in terms of him personally, it's been the weekend started out good. His son Zachary threw a no-hitter on Thursday in a state regional baseball playoff game. Then on Friday, the game DJ had to miss, he hit 2 home runs. But on the track, they have struggled. The car extremely tight. They haven't been able to get it any better so far. They have done their best to make changes on it almost every stop, but so far, just too hard to turn right now for Dale Jarrett.
Thanks, Marty. So Jarrett going backwards, go ahead.
It doesn't help when you don't have tires on the car either. And everybody else does.
And his teammate Elliott Sadler announced this week he is leaving Robert Yates Racing. Elliott currently running 32nd on the racetrack and said it was a tough week for him, making the decision to leave.
I just think it's difference of opinion. You know, it was, you know, Robert and I have had some great heart-to-heart meetings this year on trying to get you know, our organization and our cars running a little bit better, and I just could not personally buy into the system of which direction those guys want to go in. I kind of want to go in a different direction, and we tried to meet in the middle, but it just was not going to work. And I think if they get a driver over there that does buy in the system, what they're doing, they're going to run great. I think they're really going to run good, and I hope we get to see that.
Elliott Sadler said in that interview he doesn't know where he'll be next season. A lot of people don't believe that.
Including someone who's sitting next to you, right.
We'll see how it plays out. But it has been a disappointing year for Robert Yates Racing. 17 consecutive seasons. They've been to victory lane at least once. They got a lot of work to do if they're going to get back there this year.
Yeah, and it makes it difficult when the teams know that the drivers are going to be gone next year, and you're at this point of the season. Hey, it's hard to get worked up and go to the racetrack every weekend. I don't care what anybody says. It's tough to do.
And that's got to be so hard for that fellow you're seeing in the inset. That is Robert Yates. His cars always run up front, and this year they haven't.
But they are very optimistic about 2007. We'll see how it works out. Denny Hamlin, the race leader, 0.6 of a second in front of Jeff Burton. Kurt Busch runs third. Kevin Harvick is fourth. Jimmie Johnson fifth.
Is the 17 car going forwards or backwards? Man,
you mean on the track or on the leaderboard, BP?
On the leaderboard, he was up front running in the top 5 most of the day. Now he's back in the 19th position.
Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick runs fourth. An update from Matt.
And Harvick entered Pocono 70 points out of third, but also he kept in mind the 77-point cushion out of 11th. He said the target from this race on, top 5 finishes. He wants to step it up, ramp it up as we get closer to the chase. His hindrance today has been turn 1 as he goes down the front straightaway. He changed his line into turn 1, and he's using a lot more brake. That has really helped pick him up. That was the only place he was giving up. Meanwhile, BP, you were talking about the 17 at Kenseth. They had issues on pit road. They made some significant adjustments, but he was also blocked in by the 10 of Scott Riggs.
All right, so he lost all that track position. Now he's trying to fight his way back. But I don't think Matt Kenseth today has the car that Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart has. Jeff Burton.
But we're just halfway through. Vickers around his teammate Jeff Gordon. That's for 6th. .100 laps, now 101 complete here in Pocono. Denny Hamlin has led 58 of them, and he's out front once again at Pocono. After a rainy Saturday, a gorgeous Sunday in the Pocono Mountains. We're in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, just past the halfway mark of the Pennsylvania 500.
Well, all right, for our young fans, we'll try to do that. Down in the truck, let's cue the duck.
Time for our Aflac trivia question. Who was the last driver to sweep both races at one track from the pole in the same season?
Well, this is not a Busch race, so the answer wouldn't be Harry again, would it?
No. I don't think you have to go back that far for this. Let's find out. Jeff Gordon on the short track at Martinsville.
3 years ago.
Our Aflac trivia question. There's Gordon running in the 7th spot. And he's about 8.5 seconds behind that rocket ship, Denny Hamlin. More from Alan.
And just, you know, things are going well when you get these momentary panics in the race that turn out to be just fine. A couple minutes ago, Denny Hamlin was talking on the radio, and there wasn't a response from his race team. And he came back on the radio a second later and said, Curtis, calling his spotter, Curtis Markham, do you hear me? And Curtis said, yeah, I just didn't understand what you said. He said, don't do that to me. He's worried he'd lost radio contact with the team. You know, I suppose you can relate to this, Benny and Wally. When things are going so well, you're waiting for something to go wrong.
No question about it.
Yeah.
The car's that good. You want some conversation?
Yeah.
Well, he's not doing it. He's kind of bored out there right now. But yeah, every little thing you think is a major problem.
Check out this blue deuce of Kurt Busch. Closing on the back of Jeff Burton.
Allen, more on Kurt.
Yeah, just the last radio traffic from Kurt to his pit, Bill. Just that he feels the car is very good. They're in good shape. They didn't make any changes on the last pit stop. And his crew chief, Roy McCauley's telling him they're running the same lap times as the leader, Denny Hamlin, has a few laps ago. So Kurt's hanging in there. Remember, he finished second here about 6 weeks ago.
15 career wins, 4 top 5s in the last 6 races here for Kurt Busch.
And I think Burton's had enough of Kurt Busch on his rear bumper. He's going to go ahead. I'll follow you for a while.
Kurt Busch got a big week coming up. He is getting married this weekend.
And I asked him about that Friday after his qualifying run, what he was going to do on the off week.
Oh man, I got this crazy deal going on. I'm supposed to be getting married. And it's just been that much fun putting all that together and seeing Eva work with things and trying to pick things. And I've taken a back seat role, except for like when we go to Daytona and Talladega and they hold up that restrictor plate. I bring that into the wedding cost every now and then for Eva. So that's going to be fun to do that this weekend. You know, we're doing it on NASCAR schedule. She wanted a summer wedding, and here we go.
And our best of luck to Kurt and his fiance next weekend. Greg Biffle on pit road. Matt.
Locked him up on his entry. Biffle came on the radio, Bill, a lap and a half ago and said, I believe I have a tire going down, possibly the right front. The 2 corners before, he said the car just would not turn. He'd been fighting a tight condition, which had progressively been getting worse and worse. As they come around to the left side, remember Biffle had just jumped back into the top 10 in the championship standings last week. For only the 3rd race this year, after a tough start, they're going to take a look at that right front, check the pressures, and see indeed if that was the case.
You're right, Matt came in off the 3rd place finish at Loudon.
But I think he's going to go a lap down. Here comes the leader. Yep. If the caution were to come out, he would be eligible for the lucky dog, but
see if he can run them down, though, with 4 fresh tires.
I don't think so.
Don't think so? Not even with 4 fresh ones?
Don't believe so.
Well, he needed 4 fresh tires after this.
Getting everything he can get, trying to get to the line. Actually locked up the rear tire.
Yeah, you're right. Tony Stewart has marched his way up to 9th. Was penalized early in the race for aggressive driving, an incident that involved contact with Clint Boyer and Carl Edwards.
But when he got to 9th spot, he's kind of stopped there. He's about the same speed as Jamie McMurray, the guy in 8th position, but haven't been able to gain too much on him here lately. Dave?
And they're not real disappointed with the car right now, Benny, and you guys have talked about it being a great race car. It's just that when it's back in traffic like this, it is a little bit tight. It doesn't handle correctly. They'd like to be out in front of everybody, and they work a little bit better out there. But right now, he's just not gotten any further than 9th, like you said.
Closing in on Jamie McMurray in the 8th spot. Then Jeff Gordon would be next. Denny Hamlin leads Kurt Busch by 3.3 seconds here at Pocono. Looking to sweep the 2 races at the Pocono Speedway this year. TNT Sports is live here in Pocono, Pennsylvania. For the Pennsylvania 500, Sunoco and TNT are teaming up to offer fans a chance to win 10,000 gallons of free gas with the Free Fuel 5000 sweepstakes. Go to freefuel5000.com and get all the details. Here's Denny Hamlin, about a little over 3 seconds in front of Kurt Busch. Then it's Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, Jimmie Johnson.
And Wally, you were right. Biffle, with those fresh tires, was able to pass the 11 car. And it kind of driven away from him.
Biffle currently scored 39th, the last car on the lead lap. So do you think Denny Hamlin's favorite track is going to be Pocono?
My guess would be yes.
There's Biffle. More on Biffle from Matt.
Bill, his day has taken a definite turn for the worse. They checked the pressures in all 4 tires. There was nothing amiss. Biffle says it just felt like there was something wrong with the tires. Now keep in mind, a little bit different left side tire here this weekend than what the guys had back in June. Some guys have really hit on the setup with it. Some guys have struggled trying to find that good comfort feel. But boy, Biffle is certainly going to take a hit in the points if he can't battle back from this hindrance here.
Good point, Matt. And a lot of guys in that championship picture having problems here today. You know, a lot of guys were watching our TNT coverage of the British Open earlier today. And over the weekend, our buddy Jimmie Johnson unable to attend the British Open in the 18th tower. Ernie undergoing treatment for cancer. We know Ernie's tough. He has to work with Charles Barkley every week. Ernie, take care of yourself. We wish you best of luck in your recovery. We'll continue from Pocono. 117 laps complete in the Pennsylvania 500 at the Pocono Raceway, and Denny Hamlin has led 75 of the 117. He won here in June, going for the season sweep. Dale Jarrett's on pit road. Marty.
Well, he hung on as long as he could on those old tires. The car has been tight for DJ. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, trying to loosen them up. They pulled a spring rubber out on the last stop. It did help the chassis a little bit, but as Wally pointed out, when you're out there on old tires and everybody else has new tires, it makes a huge difference. 4 tires for the 88 crew. He's back out on the racetrack.
Thanks, Marty. Denny Hamlin, the race leader, 4.4 seconds in front of Kurt Busch. Let's take you through the field and start with Alan.
Well, remember back in the June race here, Denny Hamlin spun out early in the race and then rallied back from 40th to win. Well, I talked with his crew chief, Mike Ford, this morning, and he said, we got the spin out of the way early this weekend. On a cool-down lap from a practice run Friday, Denny looked to try and avoid another car and spun. Didn't hurt anything on the race car. It's going well now. Kurt Busch running second behind Denny Hamlin, discussed both adjustments on his car and the car he's chasing with his crew chief Roy McCauley a moment ago.
Car's a little tight in spots, but then loose on the late exit because of the sway bar. 10-4, your lap time is you and the 11. Keep digging, you're real good. 10-4, I'm driving hard, he's on cruise. And he's got to figure it out. We're getting there though.
It's been a common sentiment up down pit road today. We don't have anything for that 11 yet. Matt?
7 seconds back of the leader is the 29 of Kevin Harvick, working on his 3rd straight top 5 finish this season. Harvick says the car is tight in the center of the corner. Back on lap 115, he moved up to 3rd. They're about 6 laps away, AB, from making their next stop.
Well, Jeff Burton has faded back. He was running second a little while ago. He's 4th now. He's talked about his car being low on grip, says he can't run the high line. His crew chief Scott Miller said, I've got something to fix that. Jimmie Johnson's car is sliding around in all 3 corners at the back end, so they'll look to make an adjustment for that on the next stop. The championship leader still having a very solid day. He rounds out the top 5 right now. Marty?
Alan, all day long we've talked about Brian Vickers struggling with a very tight race car, especially in turn 1. Well, finally, after several changes, they have the race car loose. The rear end wants to kick around now. He said, you know what? Actually, it's not too bad. It feels pretty good right now, Dave.
Jeff Gordon has gone nowhere. Restarted lap 92 in the 7th position. He is still logged back in the 7th position. The 20 car of Tony Stewart, well, you know what? Apparently, the 99 of Carl Edwards got into him on the last restart. Tony's reaction? Not real happy. Tony's still back in 8th position. Marty?
What a run for Jamie McMurray, who has finished 33rd and 39th in his last 2 races today. He has been solidly in the top 10 all afternoon long. They're only about 4 laps from their next pit stop. The car extremely tight for Jamie. They made several changes on the last stop, but they hope to make more changes on this coming stop. Martin Truex Jr. says his car's bottoming out, having problems with that. Tight, but it's a little bit better on this run. Bill?
And Robbie Gordon heading for pit road. He got a flat left front.
Sure looks like it.
Matt Yoakum says that's it. So Robbie Gordon, who was running near the top 20.
A crew chief told me today he guaranteed someone
left rear.
would have a left front issue, but we haven't seen one. It is a left rear.
That's hard to drive.
He does a really good job not spinning that thing out.
It's hard to keep that thing
Managed to hang
from spinning out.
Matt?
Bill, Pocono has not been nice to Robbie Gordon, taking a look at the replay of his tire going down. Now, back in the spring, he had radiator issues. Earlier in the race today, Robbie made the call from the cockpit that he wanted to short pit to try to gain some track position, make up some track time with fresh tires. Then the caution came out, but he lucked out and got the lucky dog, and then he climbed up to 12th until this recent tire issue.
Yep, that's where he was, Matt. You're exactly right, running 12th. Now let's continue going through the field with Marty.
Bill, as we were saying on Martin Truex Jr., he's having a problem with the car bottoming out, especially in turn 1. That's the Banks turn that Wally couldn't figure out earlier, because when you don't really see it when you're in a race car. The car is a little bit tight, but they're having a solid day. Nice run in the 9th position, Dave.
Nice run for the Kings car, the 43 of Bobby Labonte right now. Pretty good into the corner and up off the corner. It's that darn center of the corner that's bothering the 43 car right now. Matt?
And with Robbie Gordon's issues, that moves the 17 of Matt Kenseth up to 12th. Kenseth was 5th here in June. He says the car just does not like old tires. The front just has no grip, absolutely no grip. Looking ahead to their next pit stop, making at least an air pressure change. Marty?
Well, Matt, when Mark Martin finished 4th last week at New Hampshire, broke a string of 5 straight races without a top 10 finish. Big relief for the 16, and they've run in the top 15 for most of the day today. Right now, he says the car is just way too tight. They're really struggling to get it to turn in the corners. They're planning several changes on the next stop. Casey Mears hanging in the top 15 with that 2 tires on the last stop, currently in the 14th position. He said the car, though, just wants to plow, especially when he goes into turn 1. Very hard to turn. Dave?
Ryan Newman's going to have to pit between 5 and 7 laps from now. They need to make a big track bar adjustment. 3 rounds up. That car won't turn. Marty, back to you.
Well, Dave, here is Kyle Busch in the 16th position. Yes, they made 3 pit stops under 1 caution, changed the front shocks on the race car. They've made several changes to the car, and look, the car is coming back to the front. He said, you know what, right now it's not too bad, a little bit too tight, but anytime you change 2 front shocks and you can finish in the top 15, top 20, that's a pretty good day, isn't it, Bill?
You betcha, Marty. Reed Sorensen is 17th. Joe Nemechek and Ken Schrader runs 19th. Then it's J.J. Yaley in the 20th spot. Those are the top 20. There are 34 cars scored on the lead lap. Denny Hamlin is the leader. Pit stops just ahead when we continue from Pocono in the Pennsylvania 500.
A lot of activity on pit road here at Pocono. Tony Stewart's crew making a 4-tire change for him. No chassis adjustments to the car. It's very good. Marty.
Casey Kane has an extremely tight race car. At one point in this run, he said, quote, this is ridiculous, guys. Air pressure and wedge adjustments trying to loosen that car up for Casey.
Green flag stops began a lap ago on lap 125. Kurt Busch is coming down pit road. Kevin Harvick is on pit road. Jeff Burton and Jeff Gordon is headed for Dave. Let's check with Alan first, though.
Kurt Busch is coming in. They're going to make a slight air pressure adjustment and a track bar adjustment. You can see the wrench in the right rear window hole for Kurt Busch. Jeff Burton pitting in front of him. Dave?
Air pressure adjustment for Jeff Gordon. Tight in turn 1. Can you bear the tunnel turn the way that it's going? Jeff said yes. They'll leave that the way it is, hopefully, and he's off pit road.
And Bobby Labonte is parked 90 degrees to the wall, but they're making a pit stop.
He's in the box.
He's in the box.
It's legal.
Dave?
Yep, that's right. If as long as those tires are in the box, like you guys said, now that right-hand turn to get out, that's going to be a little bit tough. So they're going to have to push this car back. The boys will help him do that. He's clear on pit road. That's the good news. And now Labonte will make that right turn and get gone. That's a tough break for them because, again, they were having a pretty good top 15 run.
They were having a strong run, Dave. Marty.
Well, Brian Vickers has been fighting a loose race car for most of this run, guys. He's going to come in. They're going to make air pressure adjustments on the stop. You know, he said wasn't really that bad on the end of the run when earlier he had been tight. Alan?
Jimmie Johnson will pit and look for him to get 4 tires on this car. Chad Knaus told him just a minute ago, we've got a solid top 5 car here. That's what we've got to do. You see them going to work. They're going to put the adjustment wrench in on both sides of the car. Looks like a wedge and a track bar adjustment there for Jimmie Johnson. And wow, a lot of brake dust off that car too.
Boy, that is a lot of brake dust.
Cars continue to pit. Dave.
And more brake dust, Bill. That's a 12 of Ryan Newman on pit road. Right behind him, Kenny Schrader pitting as well. Both cars have been tight. Ryan Newman will get that track bar adjustment that he was asking for. Alan.
And here comes the leader, Denny Hamlin, down onto Pocono's very long pit road. Reminders from his crew and his spotter about his pit road speed limit. They're going to make a 4-tire change. How good are things for this car? They're going to change the right front air pressure 0.2 of a pound. I kid you not, 0.2 of a pound on this 11 car for Denny Hamlin.
That's fine tuning. They go around to the left side.
And you wonder how you can do that with a very expensive air gauge.
Exactly right. Marty. No, Marty working on some other pit stories down there. Mark Martin is on pit road.
So Mark Martin back on the racetrack. Kyle Busch, the 5 car, going down pit road after a pit stop.
Dave?
Joe Nemechek on pit road, 4-tire stop being completed. He was one of the few cars complaining of being loose on the track today. They've been adjusting on that.
Cycling through green flag pit stops here at Pocono. 128 laps are complete. And it should cycle back to Denny Hamlin, who has led 86 of the 128 laps today. Only been 5 season sweeps at Pocono. Jimmie Johnson, Bobby Labonte, Tim Richmond, Bill Elliott, and Bobby Allison. Hamlin won here in June, trying to do the double, win the July race as well. Dale Earnhardt Jr. currently off the track, scored in the 42nd position after a crash on the backstretch, and Marty talked to him just a moment ago.
Junior, you seemed awfully calm on the radio, but you seemed kind of upset getting some time to cool down.
Well, I really didn't know who wrecked me, and then I found out it was Dave Blaney. I didn't do nothing to Dave on the racetrack, and I don't think he meant to wreck me. I don't know why he would do that. He's a pretty nice guy, and we got along in the past, but weird deal, you know, just got run over on the straightaway, and I tried to save, but I just got too far behind on the wheel there.
43rd last week. You cannot afford to be 42nd this week, which is where you are right now.
Yeah, you're telling me. I mean, what am I supposed to do? You know, my motor blows up and then I get wrecked. I don't know what else to do. I mean, we didn't have a great car, and we didn't bring a good race car to the racetrack and a good product, and you know, I'm disappointed in my team in how the car drove, but you know, we'll just have to keep trying.
Junior's going to head back out on the racetrack here in a moment and gain as many points as he can.
And Marty, he's going to need them. Earnhardt currently 12th in the championship standings. Greg Biffle makes his pit stop under green. Denny Hamlin leads at Pocono. Denny Hamlin continues to lead here at Pocono. 134 laps complete. Here is our Napa field summary. 6 different leaders, 8 lead changes, 5 cautions. And no car is scored out of the race. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has just come back out of the garage, back onto the racetrack.
And so did Kyle Petty.
Right.
So all 43 cars that started are currently on the racetrack.
Kyle was involved in a crash early in the race. He's 67 laps down. Earnhardt Jr. is scored 42nd. He's 47 laps down.
And look at the left front, that BP. It's dragging the racetrack of the 8 car.
See Elliott Sadler moving over to let the 24, 31, 25, 48, all those cars go by. It's a great battle for the, what, 4th, 3rd through the 7th position.
Well, Gordon is 4th. Jeff Burton is 5th. Then Vickers and Jimmie Johnson.
I put Harvick in that race, and he's not in that race. He's way ahead of that race.
Dave's working the 24 pit today.
And Bill, remember we talked about he was restarted in 7th and couldn't get out of 7th?
Yes.
How did he get up to 4th?
He's fast.
Yeah, we had good pit stops during these green flag runs, getting onto pit road, having good service, getting off the pit road. Some guys didn't, some did. Jeff picked up 3 spots in that cycle.
Wow.
Hey, Dave, Brian Vickers came on the radio, told his guys a moment ago, you know, the balance on the car is a whole lot better than it was earlier. Then we had his second, he came back on the radio. But I don't think balance is going to help us catch that 11 car. I think you need a jet engine today, guys, to catch that 11 car.
That Harvick was one of those leaders that pitted under all that chaotic pit road action on lap 126. A small air pressure change in the front tires. Now his only issue has been tight in the center, trying to work that out so he can work his way back to the front. Currently, he runs in the 3rd position.
Thank you, Matt. Brian Vickers trying to go to work on Jeff Burton. Vickers still looking for his first career victory. And if you weren't with us earlier, the Benny Grapevine said it's coming today. According to his crew, right, big guy?
They thought they really
had something today, but
did they not know Denny Hamlin was in the race?
Evidently they
forgot about that. Jimmie Johnson moving up right behind the 25 car.
Got 3 Hendrick cars there running with the 31 of Jeff Burton. Alan?
Yeah, Bill, you guys were just talking about Jeff Burton a minute ago, I believe, and he was calling in on his radio at the same time, saying in that second corner right there, they call it the tunnel turn here because it goes over the access tunnel to the infield. He said, I'm just about wrecking through there each time. Marty?
And Alan, just a lap ago, Brian Vickers came on the radio, said, you know, I'm faster actually than Jeff Burton and these guys in front of me as a teammate Jimmie Johnson tries to pass him. He said, but I just can't get to him. He said, I get 7, 8 car lengths behind the 31 car, and my car just stops. What we were talking about a couple weeks ago, Wally and BP, you know, this aero stuff, as soon as you get behind the car about 7, 8 car lengths, the car just does not go as well.
Especially now, the track hot, greasy. Trying to look for some grip out there on that racetrack, and it's hard to find.
You're in the straightaways forever.
You are.
3,700 feet front straightaway.
So Johnson around Vickers. And they'll set out after Jeff Burton. We asked Jeff about this tricky track and what is the most frustrating turn here at Pocono for him.
The tunnel's tough, there's no question, but it depends on what your car's doing. If you're loose, turn 3 is a handful. If you're tight, turn 1's tough. So it really depends on what your car's doing, but consistently getting through the tunnel turn, racing other people, to me, is the hardest part of the racetrack.
It's rough back there.
It's fun, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I always like that corner. You just carry so much speed, and you have to hit it right. It's not like turn 1 or turn 3. If you miss it a little bit, you've got a lot of racetrack to recover. Turn 2, you have to hit it just right, or you're in the wall
and
on the exit.
It looks narrower just driving down through there, doesn't it?
It is narrower.
Denny Hamlin. 10 times Pocono races have been won from the pole. The 11 car is trying to make it 11 times today. Fans, follow your favorite driver with real-time telemetry and in-car audio with Track Pass from NASCAR.com. Subscribe today and get it at a discounted price. Learn more about Track Pass, go to NASCAR.com. Riding along with Ken Schrader there, the 23rd spot.
Schrader's been running pretty well today in this 21 car.
Dave, you got more on Schrader?
It hasn't been a bad day at all for him. Car a little bit tight most of the day. Of course, the big news this week was that Michael Fatback McSwain is back up on the pit box for the 21 car. I asked Ken right before driver introductions, well, so how's it going with Fatback? And he said, man, when we got rained out Saturday, you know, it was really hard for us. We only got about 12 laps together on Friday, so I really couldn't tell you quite yet, but welcome back, Fatback.
He's got 200 laps to work on it today, though, right, Dave?
Yeah, and they have been, too. They've been making adjustments, but just little ones. Again, just a little tight race car.
Again, Schrader in the 23rd spot. 27 cars are on the lead lap. Denny Hamlin by 4 seconds over Kurt Busch. There's Hamlin in the 11 FedEx machine.
Starting to pick him off, though.
Yeah.
Starting to put a lot of guys a lap down. Terry Labonte. Next guy in his sights.
Alan?
Well, Bill, here's the time of the day when things get really uncomfortable for the crew chief of the car that's been dominating the whole race. You get a couple of cautions that fall late in this race at the funny time, and what do you do if you're that crew chief? Remember early in this race, had a pit stop at lap 33 when a lot of guys went for 2 tires and Denny Hamlin's team went for 4. It shuffled him back in line to 10th place and took him a long time to get back to the front. One of the things I talked with Mike Ford, Denny Hamlin's crew chief, about this morning is strategy late in the race. And he said, yeah, that's a tough one. We'll just have to see how it plays out. It's almost a no-win for the crew chief of a car this good when you get late in the race.
Can't win, can you?
He takes 4, everybody else takes 2. He takes 2, everybody else takes 4.
We'll see how it plays out, and we'll see if the 11 car can get around that stubborn 96 machine when we come back to Pocono. NASCAR Next Talk Up Racing live on TNT from the Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. 146 laps are complete, and that man, Denny Hamlin, has led 104 of them, and that means he's clinched the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps today. Jimmie Johnson runs in the 5th spot. Johnson about 15 seconds behind the race leader Hamlin. Now, we talked about guys doing double duty, racing here at Pocono and racing the Busch race yesterday in Martinsville. Well, Jimmie pulled some double duty too this weekend. Went from Pocono to Akron, Ohio for the 69th All-American Soapbox Derby World Championship. The Nextel Cup point leader also took part in an exhibition race and presented awards to the champions ages 8 through 17. This year, drivers representing 40 states and 6 countries are in the Derby, a NASCAR youth initiative. And I'm sure they were. Huh?
Did he win?
It looked like he won in his exhibition race.
That's what I thought.
Do you think he got the fastest car in that exhibition? I would imagine. Alan?
He doesn't have the fastest car today.
No.
Yet, Bill. But they continue to work on it. In fact, that's kind of the overall theme for Jimmie Johnson, the championship leader at this point in the season. The last couple of years, they've peaked too soon. And Jimmie has talked this weekend about wanting to make sure this team builds its momentum, continues to develop its race cars so that they peak when it counts the most in those final 10 races. Another thing on Jimmie Johnson's mind this weekend is making sure you qualify for the championship. Oh, wait a minute. Something's going on in the leader's pit here. Let me check it out. Let me get back to it.
All right. We'll check out his car. You check out his pit. There's Johnson. Hamlin leads by 4.2 seconds.
Denny Hamlin, is that the one he was talking about?
Here he is. Going around the wounded car of Carl Edwards.
Looks like he's up to speed.
Looks like he was to me. Last time he was the fastest car on the racetrack last time by.
What'd you see, AB?
I saw all the crew guys jump up and put their helmets on to fuel and change tires on the car, and that's about 20 laps too soon. I just asked what's wrong. Denny called in, said something fell off the 99 car and I hit it. Now they're thinking that it was maybe just tape. You see the tape flapping around on the front of the fender of the 99 car that they used to repair the crash damage on it. They're thinking maybe it was just a ball of tape that came off that car.
So heart attacks for everybody in the 11th pit.
Including the pit reporter, who was telling a story about the 48 and had to interrupt there.
You want to finish that, or are you pretty much there?
There's
okay.
the tape
there
right
you
there.
go.
Tape is just on the
right below the left headlight.
Yeah, it's not a problem. Not blocking anything.
So you're right there below the SS in Monte Carlo.
Got a caution.
Caution on the speedway. Caution for debris. With 51 to go.
I don't think that anyone can run the rest of the way.
If they can, I think I'll go down to post-race inspection. But somebody, Benny,
will try.
You bet they will. Robbie Gordon will be the lucky dog. There's Robbie in the 7. So 150 laps are now complete, 50 to go. Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick, Jeff Gordon, Jimmie Johnson, the top 5. Then it's Vickers, Jeff Burton, Tony Stewart, Martin Truex Jr., and Matt Kenseth.
Well, that's where you go 4. Maybe come in later for 2. You put 2 in now. If you put 2 on now, try to get track position, it's going to hurt you for the last pit stop.
Yeah, you got to change 4 then. So yeah, you got to change 4 now. And there we see a piece of tape. I guess that piece of tape came off Denny Hamlin's car. Yes, it did.
Well, you got 24 cars on the lead lap. So some of these guys are going to try and gamble on one way or the other.
I saw like I don't know what he's picking up there. I saw something else out there. I saw tape and something larger. But yeah, I mean, obviously some of these guys are going to roll the dice back here. I mean, for track position. But the guys that have a shot to win, I think you have to put on 4 and then maybe play the strategy later. Just take enough fuel in 2 or whatever, depending on, you know, when they're going to stop in. Yeah.
It's a pretty good bet you're not going to outrace Denny Hamlin at this point. You got to try and out-strategize him somehow. Pit road will be open this time. Denny Hamlin ran 7 races with the FedEx guys last year, and those crew guys just fell in love with their driver. They kept telling us, this kid's got it. We're going to be good.
And you're right, that love affair still continues.
Boy,
Bill.
it does. One here in June from the pole. Started from the pole today, and he's out front. And the field coming to pit road. Let's see how many of them come. Marty, waiting for you.
Bill Brian Vickers said his car was much tighter that run. He said, I'm not sure if it's a racetrack or him, but especially when he was around other race cars, his car is extremely hard to turn. They're going to come in. It's going to be 4 tires for the man running in the 6th position. They're going to go up 1 round on the track bar. Second adjustment today they've made on the track bar, trying to loosen that car up a little bit for Brian. Dave?
Jeff Gordon is in as well. Bottom of your screen. They will make no changes to the 24 car. A little bit loose, but it was coming to us. That's the way Jeff said it. Matt?
Trying to improve Kevin Harvick's entry into turn 1 in the center. They fixed that, but then they made turn 3 way too loose, so they're going to back up on the air pressure. He's away, AB.
Well, Denny Hamlin's been getting it done on the racetrack. His pit crew's been getting it done on pit road all day long. 4 tire stop. They hold the lead. A minor track bar adjustment for Denny.
And that was a very good pit stop for the 11 bunch, getting Hamlin out first. Crew cam once more, BP.
Keith Cherry, right, the rear tire changer. Barry, right carrier, Barry Cook gives a changer. Heath runs around, gets a new left rear tire. 5 lug nuts off. Keith Cherry slides on the tire. Tightened up. A great stop under 14 seconds.
NASCAR Nextel Cup Racing from Pocono on TNT, brought to you by State Farm. Great service and great rates. You can get it all from State Farm. By Bank of America. Experience higher standards in checking only from Bank of America. And by Nextel. Get closer to the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series with Nextel from Sprint. Well, you saw all the cars on and off of pit road, but Ryan Newman, Bobby Labonte, Casey Kane, Jamie McMurray all hit with speeding penalties. Update on the 2 from Allen.
Yeah, this is radio from Kurt Busch and his crew chief Roy McCauley a minute ago, Bill, talking about the adjustments they were going to make on their stop. The first part of it is kind of technical, but I want you to listen to the enthusiasm at the end.
Take a ½ pound out of the left, ½ pound out of the right rear, and maybe leave the track bar alone. I'm just not getting a grip with the rear right now on exit. 10-4, ½ pound out of the left, ½ pound out of the right rear. Leave the track bar alone. Yeah, baby, I like that. Yeah.
He obviously thinks he might be getting into condition to do something with that car in front of him that's dominated today, huh, BP?
You know, Alan, the most impressive thing was that Kurt Busch called for those changes.
They really talk back and forth a lot. It's really been impressive for a group of guys that have only worked together for half a season, Benny. Kurt and Roy McCauley really seem to have developed a good back and forth on the radio, and they know what each other's thinking, and we know how important that is to succeeding in these races.
Field has gotten the 1 to go. We'll go green next time by. NASCAR Nextel Cup Series off next weekend, but the Busch Series in action from St. Louis. We'll see it Saturday night, 8 Eastern, right here on TNT. And 2 weeks from today, over on NBC, the Brickyard 400 from Indianapolis. Cannot wait to get there.
How awesome is that? All these teams tested up there for a couple of days last week.
Boy, they had to dodge the rain up there too, didn't they?
You know, I felt like that it would narrow the gap between Denny Hamlin and the field coming here to Pocono. That was wrong.
A lot of guys had a really good car at Indianapolis, and you know what? They didn't bring it here.
I know.
They won it for Indianapolis.
And this car, the 11 car Denny Hamlin, if he gets through today and is still in good shape,
yeah,
it's going to Indianapolis.
He just made 42 teams very unhappy, Benny. Denny Hamlin, rising star in this sport and currently 8th in the championship standings.
I saw up on his roll bar, the padding said every day is race day.
Well, he hopes to deliver the checkered flag to his crew about 47 laps from now. NASCAR is going to add a lap. The yellow is back out, so we'll take a break and we'll come back for the restart here at Pocono. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Field coming out of turn 1 after just getting the green flag a moment ago. Denny Hamlin is the race leader. Kurt Busch runs second.
That's Biffle in the second car there, trying to get his lap back.
He's 1 lap down.
And Kurt Busch would really like to get by him.
Yes, he would.
You see at the top of the screen, 45 to go. Doubtful any car can make it that far on fuel, but that extra pace lap or that extra lap under caution may play into it. Alan, what are you working on?
The leader in his fuel strategy, Bill.
How about it?
How about that? Perfect timing, huh? No, can't make it to the finish. We'll have to see pit road again one more time. And this goes back to what I was discussing earlier about the guy that's dominated the day, perhaps becoming a sitting duck later. If we get a caution in another 5 or 8 laps, what do? It's going to be interesting to see as these laps unwind. Matt?
AB talking over the same exact scenario on top of the pit box of the 29 of Kevin Harvick. Now, Todd Berrier just told his driver under caution they are 10 to 12 laps short of fuel, and just about everyone is in that same window. But what a day the 29 is having running in the 3rd spot. Marty?
Ryan Vickers, one of those Hendrick cars, back in currently the 6th position. They are 10 laps short on fuel. Now, if the caution does come in the next 5 or 6 laps, they, of course, will pit like we've talked about with everybody else. But a lot of these teams are talking 2 tires on that stop, maybe fuel only, especially if we get just a few green flag laps on this set of tires.
It's going to be when the caution comes out that affects what you do and who does it.
Yeah, the worst scenario for the 11 car is to run about 30 laps and then the caution comes out.
Right.
Does he change 4 tires with 15, 20 laps to go because you feel like somebody is going to change 2 or just fuel only?
You're exactly right, BP.
I'll tell you what, Harvick's giving the blue deuce about all he wants right
It's
now.
all over his bumper. 43 to go.
And the 3, so easy to overdrive this corner, especially when you're chasing somebody. You want to go in there just a little bit deeper than the guy you're chasing, and the car will slide up.
Alan, you got more on Kurt?
Yeah, just how important that he and his team felt this race was to them, Bill. When they had the problems in New Hampshire last weekend, it caused them to finish in 38th position. It dropped them 206 points out of the championship in 10th place. Kurt remarked this week that he's in a similar position to what Matt Kenseth was a year ago. He can still make the championship, but they know they have to race as hard as they can for every point they can in these 7 races in order to have a shot at the title.
And they're going to need a little bit of good luck, too, because they've certainly had some bad luck to this point in the season. Right now, Kurt 13th in the championship standings. A lot of work to do.
I think they should just worry about winning races right now. Get to that point, then worry about the chase when it comes. But I mean, they're kind of out of the box there as far as points racing right now for the next 5 or 6 weeks. So just go out and just concentrate on winning, and then if you win, the points will come anyway.
And that's the good thing about 2 weeks from today, because everybody only wants one thing when you get to Indianapolis.
Exactly.
And that's the win. A couple of orange cars battling for the 7th position. Jeff Burton taking it away from Tony Stewart. Earlier in the race, Stewart black flag for aggressive driving, a 1-lap penalty, raced his way back onto the lead lap and back into the top 10. He's had a fast car all day. Burton's had a good car too. Nobody's had a car the equal of Denny Hamlin, though. Championship standings as they run right now with 41 to go in Pocono. The 6 races to the chase cutoff after today.
Jeff Gordon. Tony Stewart has moved into that 10th position.
Look at Hamlin. Picking up 4 spots.
Hamlin's going to wish there's another Pocono in the next 8 or 9 races, but there's not.
Earnhardt Jr. now 8 points back, and Biffle 46 points. Ryan Newman on pit road.
5,
Dave.
4, 3.
Here's the deal, guys. The 12 car got penalized for speeding, got to the back of the line. They wanted to make sure that they could make this stop early, just like road racing, go back out, and when everyone else cycles around, maybe they'll be ahead if they catch a caution.
All right. Now who's going to follow suit?
He's got to run 40 laps.
That's a long way to go.
That's a long way to run.
Well, I'll tell you, he's like king of the fuel mileage, though.
Yeah.
We've seen him do it a number of times. There's your race leader, Denny Hamlin.
Now, when we get to the fuel window for these cars, 30 laps to go, yes, that's a great strategy.
Right, right.
Dave?
This is their window. Earlier they were talking about when they wanted to come in and make it to the end before, and they were looking at about 39 laps on fuel. So how many do we have to go?
40. Yeah, 39 right now, but you're right, 40 when they came in.
Yep, going to be close.
Did you get 40? Did you get a number of 40 from some of these guys down there?
No, 38's the most I heard from anybody. I just assumed that once the racing started, they kind of stretch it to 40.
The thing about stretching here, one lap is 2.5 miles. And what's the one thing you don't want to happen at Pocono, BP?
Do not run out of fuel. Do not. Because you cannot coast from the front straightaway. From here, you can't coast all the way around back to pit road. You're going to stall on the racetrack.
Heck, if you have pit number 1, you can't coast to it from turn 3.
All right, here's some more cars on that strategy, Marty.
That's right, BP. Dale Jarrett and Kyle Busch at the end of pit road. It's going to be fuel only for both of these cars. They were very careful, told Kyle to be very careful with the tires. When you come down pit road, do not slide them. He slid them a little bit, but he said he didn't think that he hurt the tires. They're going to try to go all the way from here on this stop.
Got one thing for you to think about. Green, white checkers. 8 extra laps last week in New Hampshire. Denny Hamlin's out front. All he's thinking about is a fast race car and what the 42 guys behind him are gonna do next. A couple more cars have made pit stops, among them Casey Kane. Kevin Harvick runs second. We check in with Matt.
Bill, 3 years ago next month, Kevin Harvick also kissed the bricks at Indy, the biggest win of his career. He's running so well today, currently in the second position. Had a great test at the Brickyard. This team cannot wait for that Brickyard 400 to come up on the schedule in 2 weeks. Almost hating that we've got an off week. Some guys, it hurts their rhythm. These guys, they haven't really skipped a beat. The guy's on the wall waiting for when Todd Berrier calls him to pit road, possibly 2 tires and just fuel.
And one thing about next weekend, it's the last scheduled off weekend of the season. And that's when the pressure and all the work really kicks in.
Boy, Kurt Busch's car just will not turn off the second corner.
All that enthusiasm he had, it's not helping him go anywhere.
There's Burton back there right now in 8th spot.
See, Tony Stewart's been able to get back by the 31.
Yeah. Alan, you watching, Jeff?
Yeah, listening to him on his team radio, Bill. The brake pedal is fading on this 31 car. Jeff has slipped back a couple of spots. His crew chief, Scott Miller, has told him to take care of it. We've got to get through to the end. Of course, Jeff is in 3rd place in the championship starting this day.
Here comes that 29 car.
Kevin Harvick on pit road. Headed for you, Matt.
33 laps to go, Bill, and they waited till they got to this juncture so that way they would be good in case a green-white checkered popped up at the end of this event. Now, as he makes his way to his pit stall, they will go fuel only on the 29. Kevin Harvick in the car waiting for them to signal they've got enough. They do, and he's away.
So these guys rolling the dice, huh?
Well, I mean, why not? I mean,
exactly.
Like he said, you're not going to beat Hamlin on the racetrack right now as far as just speed goes.
Well, there's Denny Hamlin. He's out front. Guys behind him going to try strategy to unseat the reigning king of Pocono. We'll see what happens when we continue on TNT. NASCAR Next Talk Up Racing from Pocono Raceway on TNT, brought to you by Best Buy. Thousands of possibilities. Get yours. By Wendy's all white meat crispy chicken sandwich. Do Wendy's, do what tastes right. And by Ford, driving American innovation. Mark Martin on pit road, Marty.
Yeah, Bill, we can add a few more to the list of guys that are doing the short pit strategy. Mark Martin, among the first to take 2 tires, came down pit road. His car was just a little bit too loose. Half pound on the right rear tire. Jamie McMurray, his teammate, also leaving pit road. 2 fresh tires for him as well. Both top 10 cars today. Both one of the first to take 2 tires on this short pit strategy. We'll see if that helps out.
You're shaking your head, BP.
I mean, he doesn't have any choice but to pit.
Yeah.
Does he, Wally? I mean, if the caution flag comes out, he's going to restart about 15.
But if he pits, these other guys, they're going to try something else. The guys that haven't stopped yet.
Yeah, that's what we talked about earlier. When you're in the lead, you're a sitting duck either way.
Allen, jump in here.
That goes back to what I talked about earlier. The guy with the dominant car gets put in a no-win. He had to stay out and try and run this thing out to the length of the fuel run. If the caution comes out, he is going to get trapped back in line. But if the race goes green to the finish, he's going to be way out in front of all these other guys like he is now. So that's the only thing they've got left to play. In fact, they just started asking Denny, what do you think about 2 tires here?
I was going to say, maybe you don't wait till the end of the fuel run. Maybe you wait 10 laps before the end of the fuel run and then throw it back on them.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I think here he comes. Does he get? No, I guess he's not. But I think he's got to pit fairly soon, because if this caution comes out, he's going to be in bad shape.
Everybody's expecting him to go the fuel run.
Yeah.
And like I'm saying, well, let's, you know, throw the dice and change it around a little bit. Come a little bit earlier.
Allen.
And Bill, his crew chief Mike Ford just told Denny, let's run 2 more laps, then you can look for him to pit.
I think that's the right thing to do.
So do I, Wally. I just think he's got to get in, because his car's fast enough that he's going to be in front of all these cars that have pitted. And yes, and the cars behind him, they've got to pit.
Right.
Okay, they might have 4 fresh tires, but if he has 2, they can't beat him, I don't think.
You guys just agreed on race strategy? Now I know it's not the right thing to do.
I think we did.
So we'll see if Hamlin comes in and what the guys that haven't pitted do. Denny Hamlin, the race leader, by 4.1 seconds over Kurt Busch. You're watching NASCAR on TNT. Back live at Pocono, Denny Hamlin was waving coming out of turn 1 that he's pitting this time. Doesn't want to get run over as he heads for pit road. 26 laps to go. He's the race leader. He's led 131 of 174 laps.
Now, don't get caught speeding.
Yeah.
Slow down. Now, boy.
He's got a long way to go on that pit road.
55 miles per hour. I know, and Jeff Gordon is right behind him. All the cars now, they realize they've all got to pit now because he's put them in the box.
That's right. He forced their hands by doing this.
Dave?
2 tires on the 24 car, right sides only. Put fuel in the car to get to the end. Allen.
Just going to be right side tires and a minor wedge adjustment in the left rear that's already done for Denny Hamlin. They've topped the car off with fuel. We'll see how it works out. Dave?
2 tires for Tony Stewart. Now they're going to go 4. Wanted to get 4 fresh ones on Tony's 20 car. Put fuel in that car also. Allen, back to you.
Look for Jimmie Johnson to make a 4-tire stop. You see them on the left side of his car already. Jeff Burton just took rights only in front of him.
Well, Chad Knaus did the opposite of what the leader did. Right. He changed 2, so okay, I'm going to change 4. But here comes a 10 car, another car in front of 48.
But if the yellow does come out and all these guys have pitted, then some of these guys like Stewart and Johnson have 4 tires. And that could make the difference if they restart towards the end of the race.
Good point.
Vickers headed for Marty.
And Billy's waiting on Denny Hamlin to make his pit stop. When they finally did, they said, come next time. It's going to be 2 right side tires for Brian Vickers. He said his car was very good on that run. They made no changes to the chassis. Man, that was a quick stop for the 25 bunch. The front tire changer barely made it across before Brian took off.
I noticed that, Marty. He almost ran over that front tire changer.
Well, you aim for him, actually. It just helps you get out of the box quicker.
But motivation?
It's motivation.
Makes him go a little faster too, doesn't it?
Keeps them on their toes.
Kurt Busch is the race leader. What's he gonna do?
He better pit, because if the caution comes in now, he'll restart 25th.
25 cars on the lead lap.
Pit this time. Pit. 2 tires. 1 pound in the right rear, ½ pound in the right front.
So look for Kurt Busch to come to pit road.
Wait on the fuel. Do not wait on the fuel.
So when they drop the jack, go.
Go.
Blaney has been on and off of pit road.
46.
Here he comes.
Former series champion heads for pit road.
4600.
It's The RPMs.
4,600. 4,600.
AB.
Well, you've been hearing the strategy played out on the team's radio. So let's see just how smoothly this stop goes and where he comes out of the track in relation to Denny Hamlin. They count Kurt into his pit stall. He smokes the right side tires, stepping on the brakes to get all the speed he can into the pit stall. They change the right side tires, drop the jack. As long as the right front tire changer gets out of the way, he's good to go.
It's a dangerous job down there, isn't it, Alan?
Oh, man, these guys earn their money, don't they?
Yes, they do.
That pretty much sorts out the front runners.
And it should cycle around to where Denny Hamlin will continue to lead. Right now, he's about 4 seconds ahead of Jeff Gordon. Hamlin runs in the 6th spot. Bobby Labonte is scored as the race leader.
Well, these guys haven't stopped yet, so they've got to stop before the end of the race.
Kurt Busch, Bobby Labonte, Ken Schrader, J.J. Yaley, Joe Nemechek were hanging out. Busch has already been on pit road.
Make sure you got to pick up the left side now, okay?
Scott Wimmer has a flat left front tire.
Looks like he's going to make it safely back to pit road.
And that's the tire fault.
Oh, now he won't. That's going to bring out a caution. And it is. The caution flag is in the air at Pocono. Now we're going to see what strategy plays out. How would you like to be Jimmie Johnson or Tony Stewart now with 4 fresh tires?
That was a good call. That was the right move. They gambled.
Caution out at Pocono. 20 action-packed laps are left. We'll be right back. Under caution here at Pocono, 20 laps to go. And right now, Denny Hamlin scored in the 5th position behind Bobby Labonte, Ken Schrader, J.J. Yaley, and Joe Nemechek.
But those guys, I think, have to pit.
Yes, they have to pit.
Yes, they do.
They sure wish they didn't have to, but.
Along with several other cars.
So you see Labonte peeling off and brings the others with him. The 32 of Travis Quabble will be the lucky dog. And it cycles back to Denny Hamlin as the race leader. So Denny Hamlin leads Jeff Gordon here at Pocono under caution in the Pennsylvania 500 on TNT. Working caution here at the Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania. Get an update from pit road from Alan Bestwick.
With Mike Ford, crew chief of the once again leading car. You've been out front all day when all those pit stops started happening short. Did it get you a little nervous?
Yeah, we could foresee that coming. We knew we were just a few laps short on the last caution to make it on fuel. Knew some of the guys would gamble to try and short pit, be their only opportunity to win. You know, we kept an eye on it. We gambled, and you know, we short pit as well. We opted for 2 tires. I know there are a couple guys back there that got 4, so we'll keep an eye on them. But a couple guys behind us didn't take tires, so you know, we'll see how it pans out. The place to be right now is out front with the clean air, and that's where we are. So you know, hopefully we can hold on for the last 15 laps or so.
All right, good luck, Mike. Thanks. Thank you. Dave?
Steve Letarte called for a 2-tire stop for Jeff Gordon. Are you best in class today, or can you race the 11?
I'd like to think we can race the 11. You know, if anybody can, Jeff Gordon can. That 11's been strong all day long, but we're on right sides. I think he's on right sides. The 2's on right sides. It should be an exciting finish.
We're going to be watching. Matt?
Kevin Harvick's in 4th. Some guys in front of him with fresher tires. Is this caution going to be enough of a cycle to try to cool down those tires for Kevin to get back to the front?
Obviously, the cycle should help us. You know, everybody's got 2 or none right here, and we did 2 earlier in the day, and it really wasn't any better than when we did 4 or didn't do any. So obviously, we're just gambling to try to beat that 11 is what we were doing, pitting early, and he's the class of the field, so you just have to do something to throw it at it to hope for the best. But with 15 laps to go, when we get going right here, tires aren't going to make a difference. They're just going to hold her down and go hard as they can.
The target for Harvick in the pre-race, he said, a top 5 finish. here at Pocono. Marty?
Lance McGrew is the crew chief for Brian Vickers. They finally have the car where they want it and 2 fresh tires. Harvick doesn't have those fresh tires. Can you get by him at least?
Well, I hope so. It's just we've been fighting it all day today. The car's been good, but we just haven't got exactly how we want it, except for that first run. It's been tight, and we've been tuning on and tuning on and tuning on. I hope we got it. We were caught up a little bit, but I think we can get by the 29. We'll give Woody and those boys in Cincinnati something to cheer about in the morning.
Does anybody have a shot at the 11, you think?
Not if he keeps running like he's been running all day. He's been 3/10 better in the field all day long, and I tell you what, he's stout, very stout.
They finished 4th here in June. They're hoping for back-to-back Pocono top 5 finishes. Bill?
Thanks, guys. Great job down there. Denny Hamlin leads, and you have to think about the guys that have 4 tires. Jimmie Johnson will restart 7th. Tony Stewart will restart 10th with 16 laps to go.
I think that'll make a big difference, but they've got to work through this traffic, and that's a problem. On this restart, Jimmie Johnson will be starting 14th, and that's the problem. You've got to work through this traffic quick because Denny Hamlin has a clean racetrack in front of him. He's going to try to get as much distance between him and them as he can, quick.
I think the 48 and the 20 needs another caution flag. If they can pass 3 or 4 cars and then with 7, 8 laps to go have another caution flag, that might help them. But to try to pass these cars and catch 11 in 16 laps seems to me like it's going to be a very difficult task.
Well, driver crew chief communication going on among many teams. We eavesdropped on the 48 bunch.
You got brake pad, there's brake dust on all 4 wheels. Just settle in, get everything cooled off here. We can get ourselves a good solid top 10. Before we get some green flag runs, so we're going to eat these guys up. Or we don't need to eat them up, we just need to finish. Everybody else ahead of us is on 2 tires, except for you. That's my present to you for the end of the race.
Alan, you listening to that?
Yeah, you like that, don't you?
His present.
Chad Knaus, he's balancing, trying to get his driver to get all that he can in these last laps by taking advantage of those fresh tires, but they're the championship leader. They know, especially watching what's happened to Dale Jr. the last couple of weeks, they could still fall out of this thing, possibly. Not likely, but possibly. He wants Jimmie, who's struggling with his brakes right now a little bit, to make sure he gets a good finish first, and then see where they finish.
Jimmie Johnson is 76 points in front on the championship standings. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car has been retired from the race. He will finish 43rd for the 2nd straight week. 16 laps to go at Pocono. Jeff Gordon wants to lock onto the bumper of that 11 car and then get underneath him, and he might have a shot here. They scramble behind him. 4 wide. Wow. Top 3 cars break away.
Wow, look at this.
That's going to be tough getting through the tunnel turn right
Tony
there.
Stewart goes way down to the bottom. Gets in line.
That's for 2nd. Kurt Busch and Jeff Gordon.
I think Denny Hamlin was lucky that the 2 car was not behind him rather than the 24 car. The 2 has been faster than 24 most of the day. And this 24 could hold up Kurt Busch just long enough for Denny Hamlin to get away. Because it doesn't take much for the 11 car to get away.
No kidding. Kurt looking under the 24.
They are stacking up behind him.
And Tony Stewart's back in that mess.
And there's Stewart right there.
Sterling Marlin behind Tony.
It's up to 9th spot right now.
See Jeff Burton, Jimmie Johnson in front of him. Stewart clear of the traffic for the moment. We'll pop in speeds at the line when they get back to the start-finish line this time. Think that 11 car might be fastest.
Well, for the first 3, he is.
Now, when they took the green flag, Stewart was 1.6 seconds behind Hamlin when they took the green.
Okay.
And now he's 4 seconds. And that's just with those couple laps of Denny Hamlin having clean racetrack and Stewart being in traffic. And here comes 2nd spot. Got it. Kurt Busch takes it to Jeff Gordon.
Now the 2 car has been pretty good.
for 15, 20 laps. After that, the 11 car has continued to get out front, but he might have enough time here. Dave?
And Jeff Gordon going back to third now. Guys, we've talked all day long about how you have to be good in all 3 turns here at Pocono. Crew Chief Steve Letarte told me we felt handcuffed on the last option to make changes. He was not good in turn 2. He was good in 1 and 3. They were afraid if they fixed 2, they would hurt 1 and 3. So they really didn't do much to the 24 to make him that much better.
That's the challenge of racing here at Pocono.
And here's another situation. I mean, obviously these guys are trying to win the race, but this is a team that's points racing.
Yes.
You know, I mean, they can't afford to have another bad race. So Jeff Gordon, these guys are being a little bit conservative here. They need a good finish if they want to be in the chase. And here comes Stewart taking the spot away from Jeff Burton, which is 7th place.
Boy, that 20 car has been good today.
He has.
Again, he overcame a 1-lap penalty for aggressive driving early in the race. Tony worked his way back onto the lead lap. Now he's 7th. More on Tony from Dave.
And as far as the 3 turns go for the 20 car, the only complaint he had was just a little bit loose off of turn 3. Once you figure out how to make a car turn around here, if that's your only complaint, you can be pretty quick.
Benny, before the race began, you talked about the strategy of the 20 and the 24, former championship teams that have to get back into that chase and what their strategy was. And right now, that's playing out exactly as the guys told you.
Yes, for 400 miles, their thought was to win. Now it's get every position we can, every point that we can.
And don't lose any.
Yeah, exactly. Tony Stewart, Jimmie Johnson is the car in front of him. Now, Jimmie Johnson also has 4 fresh tires. So they got to think about trying to catch Vickers in the 25.
There's Johnson, low Chevy.
Actually, I believe Harvick. Is Harvick the next guy?
Yeah, Harvick
There's
is next
Harvick,
car,
the
yes.
next guy they're after.
Yeah, Vickers is in front of Harvick.
Allen?
Bill, just a note on the big picture for Jimmie Johnson today. The championship leader coming in. He started off back in 15th position. He's on his way to a top 6, maybe a top 5 finish today. Another solid day. They may not have had the best car, but they got the most out of it they could, Matt.
Kevin Harvick came into Pocono with back-to-back top 5s. Allen currently runs in the 5th spot. Combo issues, though, for the 29 team. Not only does he have older tires compared to the cars in front, the cars that are starting to chase him down, namely the 48 of Johnson. He also had contact with another car. Thinks he might have pushed him more to the quarter panels. It's just survival right now, Marty.
Well, Matt, Brian Vickers, the man in front of him in that 25 car, knows he's better on the long run than his teammate Jeff Gordon, who is right in front of him, although he has a lot of ground to make up. He also has an eye in the rearview mirror, very aware that Jimmie Johnson behind him, his other teammate, and also the 20 car of Tony Stewart have 4 fresh tires. He's seeing how fast they're coming and hoping they don't catch him.
Is hoping help?
No.
There's Hamlin. About a second over Kurt Busch.
A couple of laps ago, Kurt Busch, the 2 car, was a tick faster than Hamlin, but so I watched that time and
I think the difference is, BP, I think Kurt Busch is driving for everything he has right now, and I don't think Hamlin is. I think Hamlin's car handle is so good, he's just being smooth and doing what he has to do, but I think Kurt Busch is driving hard.
Well, that's what he talked about earlier, remember? He said, I'm driving as hard as I can, and he's on cruise control. Alan, you got more on the 2?
Again, thinking back on Kurt and the picture as it started the day for his team, they really needed to have a good top 5 finish today and have some of the guys they're racing for those championship chase positions have trouble. Some of the guys have had trouble. Kurt's running 2nd right now. This could turn out to be a huge day, launching him to Indianapolis, where his bid for trying to get into the championship's concerned.
A little bit quicker than the leader that lap.
9 to go. So you can see Hamlin if you're Kurt Busch. You know how good he's been. Is your foot like going through the floor?
Yeah, and this is where, like I said earlier, it's real easy to start over driving. You start thinking you can go in the corners just a little bit deeper, and then when you do, you really blow the corner. So you know, Kurt's just trying to squeeze a little more out of that race car to try to make up some ground. All Hamlin has to do is not make a mistake. If Denny makes a little bit of mistake, Kurt Busch is going to be all over him.
I tell you what,
he's coming.
He looks to me like Kurt Busch is getting closer and closer.
And how careful or delicately is Denny Hamlin driving? He's only got 26 career starts, and there's a former champion coming on him in his rearview mirror.
Well, I mean, you know, obviously he's looking in the mirror probably about 50 times a lap right now. There's no question about it. But, you know, what he's got to do is just stay focused on what he's doing. Don't make any mistakes. Catching you and passing you are two totally different things, too.
Because the closer he gets, the more air that he's going to be, dirty air he's going to be getting into, and he'll pick up that arrow push. Now, Hamlin caught the 9 at a bad spot.
That hurts. That is going to hurt a lot. I'll guarantee you the 2 car will gobble him up on that. That's the worst place you can catch a car. Because he had to slow way down, wait till he got through the corner. Now, as long as Kurt Busch doesn't get hung up here, but it doesn't look like he will on this deal. So I think we'll see the gap shrink a little bit on this lap.
You see Casey Kane pull way out of the way.
No, he did not. He held serve on that lap, about the same speed as Kurt Busch.
That puts Kane 1 lap down.
Busch doesn't seem to be able to get through turn 1. It just seems like the car is a little bit too tight in turn 1, and that's where he's losing a lot of time.
But from the entry to 2 all the way back almost to turn 1, it looks like he is a little faster.
Yeah.
We'll pop in the speeds again when we get to the line. Be 6 to go this time. The 4 car off the pace.
Another flat left front.
Scott Wimmer 2 laps down on that 4 car. Here come the speeds at the line.
See, that's, you know, another tricky thing about this racetrack is, like everybody says, you can get a couple of them right, but you've got to throw one away. It's hard to get all 3 corners right. Your cars not like 1 out of the 3.
Talking to Ryan Newman, that's why he likes this track, because you have to have 2 things. You have to have the car get through all 3 turns, and the driver that can get it through all 3 turns.
And, you know, Jimmie Johnson and Tony Stewart made an issue of the fact they have 4 tires, 4 fresh tires, versus these guys 2. Johnson and Tony Stewart are running slower than Denny Hamlin.
Although Jimmie Johnson may take the spot away from Kevin Harvick here. This is for 5th spot. He's working on him.
Harvick 5th in the championship standings right now. Johnson, of course, the championship leader.
Harvick trying to pick up just any kind of draft off of Casey Kane. That's why he ducked down on the inside.
Kevin Harvick gained 3 spots in NASCAR Nextel Cup points today. If he can just finish there as they run. And Denny Hamlin goes out off the chase for the NASCAR Nextel Cup to up in the 8th position, gained 4 points. Earnhardt Jr. out.
Is Earnhardt lost 8 spots in 2 weeks?
Yeah, you'd have, basically from 4th to
11th.
Yep. And that's in less than 2 races, considering this one's not even over.
That's what I mean.
Right.
That
Exactly
hurts.
right. Yeah. But we can also, you can use that as a template for the next few weeks too, because this is going to be so tightly bunched when we get out of here. You hiccup and you're going to lose 2 or 3 positions, if not more.
Right. Got to have a good one coming up.
And see, now Denny Hamlin is starting to pull away from Kurt Busch.
That 2 car that time through turn 1, and maybe Kurt just drove it in there a little bit harder that lap, but he really pushed up the racetrack that time.
Just a couple of other cars running well here as we get close to the finish of Pocono. You can include among those Bobby Labonte inside the top 10, Dave.
Yeah, and their strategy didn't work out, Bill. They were one of the ones that had to come down pit road recently. The good news is that since they restarted with 4 fresh tires, he went from 13th into the top 10, 9th round.
He nice to see the Petties and Bobby get a top 10. Bobby, a former winner of the Brickyard 400, will be there in 2 weeks. Well, I don't think he's going to catch him, but anything can happen. But that 11 car has just been magnificent today.
Not only today, in June as well.
Yep.
This is only a continuation.
So that's...
Oh!
That's...
Sorry, Bill.
No, go ahead, Benny.
Busch is still trying to
using up that racetrack.
Going up that tunnel corner, got that thing. Allen, he's still trying.
Yeah, but he's losing grip on those front tires, Benny. That T-word tight for Kurt Busch. He just called in on the radio, so he's kind of burned it down trying to get to the leader, huh?
But he was trying, really trying. 2 laps to go. So you're saying that 11 car was good in June,
yes,
was good in July,
yeah,
and it's going to be good in August?
In Indy, 2 weeks from now.
Put a security guard on that car by the time it takes the checkers.
That car went back to Joe Gibbs Racing, set in the corner. They fixed the damage from the left rear quarter panel where the tire had blown and caused the damage. Once that, they set in the corner, brought it back here, and it will go back to Indy. So they're going to tell him, when he does all the burnouts, be careful.
I think I'd take that car back and put it in my garage. I don't even think I'd leave it at the race shop till Indy.
You heard Denny Hamlin on the Bank of America countdown to green. Very humble. Alan asked him a great question. Right now, I can't believe, and he filled in the blank, I'm driving in the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series. He is 1 lap away from sweeping both races at Pocono. It's only been done 5 times in the long history of the races here. Began racing go-karts at the age of 7, stock cars at the age of 16. That was back in 1997. Came through the driver development program with Joe Gibbs Racing, 5 truck races, 1 Busch race in 2004. Drove 7 cup races last year, had 3 top 10s, got the attention of not just his team, but the entire garage and a lot of race fans. He's one of the rising stars of the NASCAR Nextel Cup Series, so appreciative of everything that's been done for him. Says he doesn't get emotional until he sees his parents, because they are living the dream with him. Denny Hamlin, teammate to Tony Stewart and J.J. Yaley, driving for Joe Gibbs, coming out of turn 3 for his 2nd career win. He sweeps at Pocono. Denny Hamlin, the race winner of the Pennsylvania 500.
Cars cross the line. Harvick does hang on.
Tony Stewart gets 7th.
Heath Cherry and all the guys high-fiving.
That crew cam works after the race?
After the race, oh yes. Kurt Busch is saying, I tried.
Good run for those guys. They needed that badly.
And now that the race is over, he gets congratulated by Jeff Gordon. There are some discussions that will probably take place after this race between Tony Stewart, Carl Edwards.
Oh, there's going to be a trailer full after this race.
Oh, did NASCAR call them over to the truck?
I don't believe they did, but I'm sure there will be a discussion. And usually you get held for a penalty if there's an ensuing conversation involved. You wouldn't know about that, though, would you, BP? No. Any first-hand experience of that?
You've never been in there?
I'll take it back one time.
I thought everybody was in there. I have. See, that's what you don't want guys to do on the victory lap. Listen, I don't run into my car right now.
It's pretty darn good.
Yeah, I'm taking this thing to Indy. Although maybe if I was somebody else, I would do that.
That was probably not a mistake.
Yeah.
Chevrolet congratulates Denny Hamlin and the 11 Monte Carlo SS on another great Team Chevy victory. 25 of the last 34 NASCAR Manufacturers Championships and counting. Chevy, an American revolution. He's going to take an easy burnout, it looks like. Matt.
Dominated here in June, dominated again in July. Mike, what's this mean to sweep Pocono?
Yeah, it's, for Denny's first 2 times here, it's pretty incredible, undefeated, 2 poles, 2 wins. He really adapted to the track well. We've got a really good race car, and the team really excelled today. We didn't have the dilemma that we had in the first race to overcome. It was a pretty smooth day all in all, but you know, hats off to this whole crew.
Now, if you look at history, back in 2002, something big happened to Mike Ford in July and August. What was it?
Yeah, we came to Pocono. I believe we got a pole and a win that weekend, turned around and took the same car back to Indy and won that with Bill Elliott. So, you know, this car is going to be going in the truck next week as well.
They told him on the radio, okay, you can do burnouts, just make sure that you don't burn them down and shred them, because this car is going to the brickyard. Marty?
Tried twice to get Denny Hamlin, once in June, once in July. Did you use your stuff up on that last run just trying to get the 11 car?
Well, we were in the same zip code this time.
That's good, right?
Denny Hamlin was fast, and congratulations to him. And, you know, if he wasn't in the series, we'd have 3 in a row at Pocono. But this feels good for our Miller Lite Dodge and our team. You know, a little setback last week, but we're still going to charge ours. We're still going to do what we can to get this Dodge in the field. And thanks to Mobile One and Kodak and all of our great associates. New Page had a cool group here this weekend. And, you know, I can't say that we're using FedEx to do anything for the wedding, but I can tell you Penske truck rental trucks are taking the things there.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you guys needed after the disappointment last week in New Hampshire.
Yeah, it definitely bumps us up, but this is great for a weekend off. And all the fans, I'm sure, were pumped up, especially the Kenseth fans, maybe. When Gordon and I were racing, but Kenseth's got to take care of his own dirty work. And I'm sure Rusty Wallace is just ecstatic right now seeing the 2-car pass at 24, but finished second, not bad, and it's a great day for our Miller Lite Dodge. We're real pumped up for the weekend off, of course. We're getting married, but Indy, man, it's a couple weeks.
I was going to ask you ready to get married?
Definitely. I'm very nervous about it. Just want to get it behind me, so can't wait. Thanks a lot to all the Miller Lite fans out there.
All right, his last 3 Pocono races, he finishes first, second, and second. Bill?
Denny Hamlin is pulled on to the start-finish line that goes across pit road here for his victory lane celebration. Alan?
Well, 2 years ago, he was welding trailer hitches for a living. Now he's a 2-time Nextel Cup Series winner, getting his hat and getting his drink and getting everything set up just right so he can come out and celebrate with his fans and his team. There he is. Well, Denny, congratulations. How would you describe your race?
Pretty uneventful for once. It was really great to come here to Pocono and do this again. And man, our car was just so strong. You know, we did just quarter turns and this, that, and the other all day, and you know, it was a pretty good day for us.
This is supposed to be a tough track for rookies to learn. You've won twice here. How come?
You know, it's just a great race car. You know, this is more about the team than it is about anything else. And you know, it's just I'm proud to be with the people I'm with Joe Gibbs Racing, and I can't help that Mike is such a great crew chief. He prepares the car perfect every single week, and it's up to me to get the job done.
When you were out front late in the race and guys began pitting and so on, were you aware of any of that in the car, and did you begin to wonder about strategy in your head?
Well, yeah, our FedEx Chevy was so good that it was like, no matter what we did, you know, it was 2 tires, 4 tires, no tires, that you know, were the best car on the racetrack. You know, at times cars started to catch up to us a little bit and tune in on us, but you know, in the long run we were good.
And looking ahead, you're up to 8th in the championship now. Thoughts there?
Well, we're just keep plugging away. That's all we can do, and you know, fate's going to decide this chase. You know, it's going to happen. Someone's got to have bad luck, and you know, we're in right now. We'll just try to stay there.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Denny Hamlin started the day telling us how glad he is to be a Nextel Cup driver. He's a 2-time Nextel Cup winner now, Bill.
Thanks, Alan. 2 wins for Denny Hamlin in the top 10 in the championship standings. Those guys were right when they said he's got some talent. A moment ago, Marty Snyder talked to Jeff Gordon.
Well, Jeff Gordon, a hard-fought top 5 for you today. Take me through your day, and I know at the end you wanted to get around those guys, but you didn't have the tires that they had.
Well, I think we're all pretty much on equal tires. It's just
you know, that we didn't need that last caution. We were looking really good there in second. Kurt was a little bit better than me, and I knew Denny was as well. And you know, I was happy to get up there in the second. I tried to hold Kurt off, but his car was just a little bit better than mine. We were really a third-place car for a good part of the day. And you know, Steve Letarte, all the guys on DuPont Chevrolet just did a fantastic job in the pits, from the strategy, the pit stops. We had some trouble with a lug nut hanging up there early in the race, and come from behind a little bit, and to come up to third, I couldn't be happier. This is a great way to go into our off weekend and really just hit the summer with this kind of a stride right now. It's fantastic.
You talk about that stride. This team has really had the momentum at the right time, Jeff. Do you feel like you're not locked in the chase, but you have a better shot now?
Well, and I still don't think we've reached our full potential. You know, I felt like we were going to really start hitting on some things during the summer. We have, and I think, you know, we only have, you know, as far as, you know, getting better, we can. We know we can, and that's where we're headed, and looking forward to making that all happen when we come back from vacation.
And the top 5 for the 2014, they finished third here at Pocono.
And he heads to Indianapolis, and he knows the way to victory lane there. And he did tell me at the Indy test that he really believes the team is getting stronger, ready to go. Let's go back down to pit road.
With Tony Stewart now, and Smoke, people had a lot to ask you today at the end of this race. You apologized to your crew for what happened on track, said you'd make it up to them. Finishing 7th, do you feel like you did?
Yeah, I think this was as good as we were all day. I mean, we never really got above this in track position, but awesome job with Zippy and I working together, and the guys having awesome stops all day, you know, getting us back to the front there. Just wish we wouldn't have had to have to race that hard that early in the race to have to get ourselves in a position to do that.
So talk about that with the 07, racing hard?
Racing too hard at the beginning of a 500-mile race. I mean, the problem is they don't learn give and take in the Busch Series, and they run the Busch Series on Saturday, and you know, they came from Martinsville yesterday, and they come here to you know, Pocono today, and they're still racing like they're at Martinsville in the Busch Series. This is not the Busch Series. This is the Nextel Cup Series. So if they would all learn a little give and take, none of us would have been in this position. I mean, Carl ended up with a bad day because of it. The 5 car ended up with a bad day. I ended up with a bad day. So you know, 4 cars ended up with a bad day because one guy couldn't be a little bit patient at the beginning and use a little give and take like they talk about in a driver's meeting every week.
And you worked yourself, I believe, unofficially back into the top 10 now for the chase. What's the outlook?
I never doubted we'd be back in the top 10. So you know, it's just 1 week after we got out. So you know, I'm not worried about it. Everybody else seems to be more worried about the top 10 than we are, because we know we're a top 10 team. We know if we just do what we did today and keep digging, we'll be where we need to be at the end of this.
Bottom line, Tony, at the end of the day, should you have been more patient?
Should I have been more patient?
Yep.
I don't think so. I mean, I think if the 3 car was here, I don't think we'd have as many problems in this series as we have, because he always had a way of letting the drivers know where they stood and, you know, when to be patient, when to move and when not to move. So it's not saying that everybody's got to get out of everybody's way, but when it's a 500-mile race and a guy behind you comes up behind you and's faster, you know, Mark Martin and the rest of those guys let everybody go. It's just the first year and second year drivers that can't seem to get it into their head to do a little give and take.
And you are becoming one of those veterans now. I guess maybe put it on yourself to help school them. I guess interviews like this help you get the message out, right?
I mean, I sat and talked with Ryan Newman last week. I mean, Ryan and I, you know, got in the wreck last week, and that cost us being in the top 10. And, you know, Ryan gets it. I mean, Kyle Busch gets it. I mean, there's only a handful of these guys that don't get it, but the problem is they're in good race cars and they run up front. They don't run up front enough to learn from the rest of the veterans, to learn how to race and how they race up front. So, you know, we ran like that when we got up front with everybody that we're used to running up front with. We never had a problem like we normally don't have a problem. It's only when we get around the guys that we don't normally race with.
Great. Thanks, Tony. Finished 7th today, guys. Matt?
Dave, the mission today for Kevin Harvick was consistency in a top 5 finish. How big is this finish for you and this team?
It's pretty big. Our GM Goodwin Chevrolet was good all day long, and you know, coming to Pocono, we always wonder what's going to happen. So today we had a really good car all day long, and we're able to run up front, keep the brakes underneath the car, and make good adjustments all day. So a great day for us, and hopefully we can do 6 more just like that.
Is this a good omen for the race that lays ahead 2 weeks from now, the Brickyard?
I think so. I mean, you know, our test went really well there. I think, you know, everybody's still got a question in their mind about the tires. You know, are they going to run far enough, and are they going to wear out? So our cars seem to be pretty good compared to others, but looking forward to the Brickyard, and only 1 race next week, so that'll be fun.
Obviously, you can't ease up, but unofficially, your team has moved up to 4th in the championship standings. Again, you can just feel that momentum starting to continue to climb there, Kev?
Well, I think, you know, we've been consistent performance-wise all year. We've had a lot of things go wrong, you know, just crazy things happen, rock through the radiator at Darlington and just a few things like that. But all in all, the performance has been there week in and week out, and that's what we have to keep doing.
Kevin Harvick comes home with a top 5 finish at Pocono, the first one in his career here at PIR. Marty?
Well, Matt, a consistent day for Brian Vickers, stayed in the top 5 for most of the afternoon. It seemed like at times you hit the setup, but never really hit it the way you wanted. Is that the way the day shook out for you?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, we were, second to third place car all day, ran the top 10 all day. We lost track position at the time. That hurt us. It was real important today. There was times when we had the balance spot on, but we still didn't have, we were still lacking about a half a tenth to a tenth on the 11. He was just dominant all day, and that's the kind of speed that you got to find in practice. You can't find during the race. The guys made good calls. We had a good solid day. It moved us up in the points, so that was a good day for us.
Did not having practice hurt you guys, being able to catch that 11 car?
Potentially. I felt like we had obviously a good base setup to start with. We ran well here in the past. We ran it well here the first race, but obviously the 11 had a better starting point than we did. So practice probably would have helped us, but I think we were still okay.
What does a finish like this mean for your race team? And you have struggled lately. You've had fast race cars, never had the finishes to show for it. Just your second top 10 in the last 11 races. What does it mean to the race team to finally get one under the belt?
Well, it means really good. We had a really good car last weekend. Bidding off on pit strategy and different things kind of hurt us, getting caught in some wrecks. But, we've had some good cars here lately, and to finally get some really good solid runs to show for it, move us up in the points.
Mr. Stewart?
Yeah, Mr. Stewart. That always, helps us, and that makes you feel good when you go home.
Brian Vickers consistent at Pocono this year, finishing 4th in June and 4th here in July. Bill?
Thanks, Marty. Let's check in with Dave as we continue our sprint post-race report here from the Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania. Dave?
And with Carl Edwards now, who is at the trailer here, having evaluated your day, a little contact with the 20 out there today. What was going on?
Yeah.
Trailer hitch, the bed coming down here. We need to get out of the way.
First of all, congratulations to Denny. That's a great job. But between Tony and I don't know. From what I saw, him in the 7, had a problem there, and he turned left into the 7 because he, appeared he was upset or something, and ended up costing us a lot of points on a day when we needed a lot. And I don't know if he knew it affected us or not, but I pulled up and waved my hand at him like, "What are you doing?" And he gave me the finger, and I just can't stand for getting wrecked and getting the finger from the same guy in the same 20 minutes, so I spun him out. But I shouldn't have done it on pit road. I made sure to do it to the right, though. I didn't want to injure anybody.
So, okay, and so the guys were kind of laughing because I guess in Wally's world, one or the other is okay, but not both. I'm sure that's why he was laughing. Overall, your performance today, obviously not what you wanted, but, overall not bad?
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean not bad?
Yeah, well, I guess that's the wrong way to go. You got the finger, you got wrecked, and everything else. Not a good day.
No, it wasn't good, but, I got a lot of respect for the sport and for all his guys and everything. That's why I didn't wreck them any worse, I guess. But hopefully we'll have some good runs coming up here. But thanks, Office Depot. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and just too bad that happened.
And thanks for driving Wally's car this weekend. Carl Edwards, appreciate it, bud.
Hey, Dave, you wrecked too there.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for all the help. Appreciate it.
All right, good job, Dave. Here are the unofficial results. Denny Hamlin led 151 laps, so he led every lap but 49 of them. That's just an outstanding day. Sweeps at Pocono. Good run for Vickers. We heard from him. Bobby Labonte comes home 8th. Martin Truex Jr.
Great run for that one car. You're right. J.J. Yeh, the teammate to Denny Hamlin, 11th.
Robbie Gordon got a 13th.
And Kyle Busch changes front shocks, come back with a 12th place run.
Oh. Schrader, Blaney, Nemechek.
Can't do that too many places.
No.
But this is one place you can change the front shocks and get away with that.
Greg Biffle had some issues throughout the day. Finishes 24th. Dale Jarrett.
David Strimmy, first car 1 lap down.
Another tough day for Elliott Sadler.
And Stephen Light in his first NASCAR Nextel Cup race.
Yep, 33rd.
33rd. At least he runs 497.5 miles.
A couple of guys way in the back there. Carl Edwards and Dale Earnhardt Jr. taking a big hit today.
6 to go before the chase. These are unofficial, but look at how close it is.
Yeah, look, I mean, Casey Kane, 424, 25, 27, 3 spots right there. Very close.
Yeah, and it's dropped back to 11th as we look at the second page. You see Tony's in now. Junior out by 15. Biffle out by 44. Busch on the bubble, but Carl Edwards pretty much out of it now, barring a magical run over the next 6 weeks. Denny Hamlin celebrates in victory lane. He knows it well in Pocono. In June, a spin early in the race. But car, driver, and crew came back to take home the checkered flag. He started from the pole today, worked his way through traffic after a variety of pit stops, led 151 laps, and Denny Hamlin celebrates his second win at Pocono.